So as we all know, the greatest player of all time is Darnell Richmond. He's basically Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Bob Orr, Mike Bossy, every player you can think of combined. That's Darnell Richmond. 99 overall, 6'5", 225, 22 years old, wears the number 24, and he's got 99s in absolutely every single attribute category. This man is perfect. And we have a goal for today's video. We're going to win a Stanley Cup with Darnell Richmond, but not one, not two, not three, 32 different Stanley Cups. Well, that's the goal. Darnell Richmond is going to play on every single NHL team. We're going to rebuild each team with Darnell Richmond on them, and we're going to try to win some Stanley Cups. So is it possible for one player to win 32 Stanley Cups? We're about to find that out. Now, the first thing we got to do is figure out where is Darnell Richmond going to be making his debut. We're going to spin the wheel right here. That is perfect. Who would have seen this one coming? This is just completely random. There were 32 options on this wheel. We're starting with the St. Louis Blues of all teams. So when it comes to a rebuild like this, there's rules when it comes to playoff teams and non-playoff teams. When it comes to non-playoff teams, I'm allowed to make 3 trades in order to make this team better. But when it comes to playoff teams, I'm only allowed to make 1. Like, I'm adding a 99 overall player. This is going to be helping each team a ton. But some of the teams like the San Jose Sharks and Chicago Blackhawks, they're going to need a bit more help. So just looking at the St. Louis Blues team, the only untouchable pieces are going to be Buchnevich, Darnell Richmond, of course, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou. The defense, everyone can get traded here. And with the goaltending, we're just going to rely on Benner. We're just going to improve everything in front of him. So we got to make a splash immediately here. Colton Parayko, Nick Leddy, and 3 second-round picks over to the LA Kings. We're bringing in Kevin Fiala and Matt Roy. A good defensive defenseman, somebody that can pick up goals for us, that's going to help a lot. Now, I got some great news before we make this next trade. Only 68% of the people watching this video right now aren't subscribed to the channel, but we have to keep getting that number lower, so subscribe right now. So with our next trade, we got to improve that bottom 6, and we got to make the defense a bit better here. So Torrey Krug, Sundqvist, and 3 third-round picks are going to be sent over to Florida. We're bringing in Forsling, and we're bringing in Sam Bennett, 2 guys that are going to be great additions to the team. With that trade complete, we still have 1 more to make. So this is going to be the final deal. It's going to be a pretty difficult one to get done, but I think we'll be able to do it. Justin Falk, Brandon Saad, Scandella, and 2 first-round picks over to the Minnesota Wild. We're going to be picking up Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin. That's going to round out our defense here. We're going to be a great defensive team. We have a good goaltender in between the pipes. I think scoring is going to be the only issue, but you know what? We got 99 overall Darnell Richmond. He'll make the difference. So with the changes we've made, it's going to be Darnell Richmond, Robert Thomas, Buchnevich on the first line, Kevin Fiala, Sam Bennett, Jordan Kyrou on the second. If we don't see any success this season, I'm blaming it on the coach. We have a terrible coach here. He has terrible line fits. There's not too much I can do. However, the defense is much improved here. Jonas Brodin, Jared Spurgeon, the top pairing. They're getting a +5 boost. Matt Roy and Forsling, they're getting a +3. We're going to ignore the third pairing, which is Scott Perunovich and Tyler Tucker. Yeah, it's not that great, but our top 4 definitely can hold it down here. And we got a great goaltender in Benner, 86 overall. Joel Hofer's backing him up. St. Louis is going to see some success. Well, I guess I single-handedly turned the St. Louis Blues around. We're 4th in the entire league here with a 49, 27, and 6 record. The offense isn't that great, but look at that defense. That's the reason we're in the postseason right now. So all those moves I made to pick up defensemen definitely worked out for the team. And of course, you're going to see Darnell Richmond leading the way. He's got 100 points here, 52 goals, 48 helpers. But considering you're a 99 overall, perfect in absolutely every category, I am expecting a bit more than 100 points. I mean, you kind of disappointed me there. Benner is a great season from you, though. We can always rely on you. 38 wins, 3 shots at 917 to 264. Now it's time to get ready for the playoffs. This is a spot where Benner always performs. We got the Winnipeg Jets, and they always fold here. So after dropping the first 2 games, of course, the St. Louis Blues, the greatest franchise of all time, are going to be responding, and we got to keep responding in game number 5 here. That's another win for the boys. Can we close it out here in game number 6? Yes, we can. We're off to the second round. We got the Dallas Stars. We got all the momentum, so we got to keep on rolling. That was 4 straight wins. Okay, yeah, things are not going our way now. We're down 3-1 against the Dallas Stars. I might have got a bit too hyped, and things aren't looking too good for us, but we got Darnell Richmond on the team. Big-time players make big-time plays. That's exactly what Darnell Richmond does. We're off to game 7. So as long as Darnell Richmond's on the ice, the big-time players are going to make some big-time plays here. We're getting outscored 2 goals in the first period here. They're scoring another 2 here. Darnell Richmond, I need you to wake up in the third period. It doesn't look like that's happening. We're getting smoked 5-1. But as we can clearly see, it wasn't Darnell Richmond's fault. 9 goals and 9 assists for 18 points in 13 games. Bro was doing absolutely everything he could, and we still couldn't win. Benner, the numbers are great here. 7 wins, a 920 and a 263. It just wasn't enough. The bottom 6 just couldn't put pucks in the back of the net, and I just didn't do a great job rebuilding that bottom 6. We didn't have enough trades. So to cap off season number 1 of the rebuild, the Anaheim Ducks are taking down the Toronto Maple Leafs in a 5-game series. You heard that right. The Anaheim Ducks win the Stanley Cup in the year 2024. I've seen enough nonsense for today. So let's move right over to our wheel spin here. Where is Darnell Richmond going to be heading next? Hopefully it's another good team. The Calgary Flames, Now, although that's not really ideal, we'll be able to make it work. So we moved on over to the Calgary Flames. Darnell Richmond, Jonathan Huberdeau, Nazem Kadri are going to be some of the top guys here. When you look at the defense, they got Mackenzie Weegar still. They still got Rasmus Anderson. These are two guys that we can definitely build around. We got to work on the bottom two pairings here. These are not good in the slightest. The bottom two forward lines, definitely not the best in the world. But you know what? That second line isn't awful. We could work with what we have here. And when it comes to the goaltending, I'm going to rely on Markstrom. I think he's good enough to get us a Stanley Cup. So as I said earlier, we got to fix the defensive pairings here. And this trade's going to do that. Coronado, Shillington, a 1st and 7th rounder over to the Arizona Coyotes. We're bringing in Sean Durzi. We're getting JJ Moser. These two guys are going to help a ton. So if we could pull off a massive deal like this, it would be huge. We're going to trade 2 prospects, Backlund, another guy in the AHL, and a 1st round pick over to the Detroit Red Wings. We're bringing in Joe Veleno for the 4th line. Shane Gostisbehere is going to play some defensive minutes for us, and we're going to get Jake Waldman some more defensive minutes. We are giving up a 1st round pick in a deal like this. It doesn't really matter. We're not getting it done. So I've gone ahead and changed the deal a little bit here, but now we have to do a massive overpayment. We have to give up 2 1st round picks. I actually don't want to give up 2 1st round picks. If we do a 1st and 2nd rounder, I don't think this is going to be enough though. Yeah, we're going to have to do 2 1st rounders. This is a huge trade package for us, and honestly, it's not a smart trade package by any means, but we need Gostisbehere, we need Jake Wallman, we need Joe Veleno, so we got to make a dumb trade like this in order to get it done. Alright, so we got to finish the moves off here. A 2nd rounder, Pelche and Hunt, are going to be sent over to the Rangers. We're bringing in Jack Roslovic and Capo Caco for the bottom 6 here. They're going to play some 4th line minutes for us. We need a bit of help in that department. We've made the 3 trades. Now it's time to see what the team's looking like. So we made a couple changes here. Blake Coleman, Darnell Richmond, Nazem Kadri are going to hold it down the 1st line. Huberdeau, Sharon Govich, and Kuzmenko are going to hold it down the 2nd. The bottom 6 saw some nice upgrades here. We're getting a +1 boost on both lines. And then when it comes to the defense, Sean Durzi, Jake Wallman, JJ Moser, and Shane Gostisbehere are going to be holding it down. And the goaltending, that's staying the exact same. Jacob Markstrom, I believe in you. So the Calgary Flames are going to be the first team that I'm rebuilding here that finished 1st in the entire league. Granted, they're the 2nd team I've rebuilt, but that doesn't really matter. 1st here with a 54-24-4 record. The offense is flying, and the defense is pretty good as well, 2.85 goals allowed. Of course, we can always rely on Darnell Richmond, 104 points here. He's got 65 goals. Huberdeau's having a great season, so is Nazem Kadri. And in between the pipes, Jacob Markstrom, a great season as well. Everyone's having great seasons on this team. We just need to continue into the playoffs. And it's good to see that the game's looking realistic so far. Our 1st round matchup, the Arizona Coyotes. Makes sense. Now, as we know, the Arizona Coyotes, they're a bunch of frauds because they're still in Arizona. The second they get to Utah, though, they won't be frauds anymore. So we moved on to the 2nd round, and now it's a great matchup. The Battle of Alberta, the Calgary Flames taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Similar to the matchup against the Arizona Coyotes, Edmonton might be taking game 1, but we've taken 3 straight after that, and we're looking to make it 4 straight here. Unfortunately, that's not going to be happening, but we are going to be closing this one out in 6 games. Never mind, we're actually blowing a 3-1 series lead. Now, we will blow a 3-1 series lead unless we respond in this one. Kadri's picking up the 1st goal of the game. Jake Wallman's going to be picking one up, but Connor McDavid and Evander Kane are picking up goals for Edmonton. It's a tie game. Who's going to be showing up in the 3rd period here? It looks like it's going to be Phil Kessel. Phil Kessel's picking up a goal in this one. Connor McDavid's picking up another. He had a hat trick here, and it looks like we're going to be falling to the Edmonton Oilers. So at the end of the day, we fell to Connor McDavid. Not much you can do about that. Similar to the last time we saw Darnell Richmond in the postseason, not too much more you can do here. 11 goals in 12 games, 8 assists, 19 points. Blake Coleman was great. A lot of the top players on this team were great. We just didn't show up when it mattered most. Jacob Markstrom, maybe the numbers could have been a bit better, but you know what? We blew a 3-1 series lead. Nobody performed in those final 3. Let's just leave it at that. So we're 2 teams down with no Stanley Cups, but I think that's about to change right now. The Edmonton Oilers. We might not even make a trade here. Now, I think it's pretty easy to say we have a super team. Connor McDavid, Darnell Richmond, Leon Draisaitl. You got Zach Hyman here as well. Nugent Hopkins, Evander Kane. This team's incredible right here. However, we are going to be making one trade. I want to improve the defense a little bit here, and I also want to improve the goaltending. Then again, 85 overall Stuart Skinner, that's not too bad. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. Brett Pesce, I think you're going to be a bit more valuable to the team than Freddie Anderson, because if we have a good defense in front of a decent goaltender, then the team's going to succeed. But if we have bad defense in front of a good goaltender, then the goaltender is going to struggle. So this is what we have to do. It has to be Dylan Holloway, Cody Ceci, a 1st and 2nd round pick. I've offered this deal to Carolina twice. They're willing to say yes, but they don't want to take on the extra contracts. I don't really care if you don't want the extra contracts. I'll give you a 1st and 2nd rounder just to accept this deal. Okay, you have to accept this. I'll give you a 3rd rounder as well. All of this for Brett Pesce. This is more than enough. I just want to get this deal accepted. You guys are absolute L-mans here. So Brett Pesce, I guess you're not coming to the team. Since Since we can't bring in Brett Pesce, we're going to turn to this deal next. It's going to be a first rounder, Kulak and Cody Ceci into Provorov and Jake Bean, two guys that can certainly help our defense here. So with the changes we made, Provorov and Jake Bean are going to be holding it down that second pairing, getting a +2 boost. Then Troy Stetcher and Darnell Nurse are going to hold it down the third pairing, getting a +2 as well. The entire defensive core here is getting a +2 boost, so I think we're going to be in all right position, especially when we have this top 6 right here. We're going to be scoring goals, that's for sure. All right, seriously, what am I looking at here? I don't care. Edmonton just finished first with a 51-23-8 record. You know who else finished with a 51-23-8 record? The Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks really just finished second in the entire league. Like, this is the current Anaheim Ducks. There has been no changes to this roster. Second in the entire league. Arizona finished 8th. That's all you need to know. Now, Darnell Richmond, considering you were playing alongside Connor McDavid, I was expecting more than 109 points. And McDavid, I was expecting more than 102. Honestly, this is just incredibly disappointing. You guys should have done a lot better than that. The goaltending numbers, Stuart Skinner, 40 wins, one shot, a 906 and a 278. Hopefully you can win us the Stanley Cup. I mean, we have a great team in front of you. We just need to step up in the postseason. But then again, when push comes to shove, there's 3 guys we can rely on here. Connor McDavid, Darnell Richmond, Leon Draisaitl. We know these guys are going to be picking up points. We just need to do it for 16 games in order to get 16 wins. So we split the series 2 games apiece against the Vegas Golden Knights because somehow they finished as a wildcard team after being healthy the entire season. Not really too sure how that works, but you know what? We're going to be taking them down to 6-game series here. We're winning that one 5-1. So we got past the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round, and of course the Anaheim Ducks were complete frauds, falling in the first round to the Vancouver Canucks. But in all seriousness, how did Anaheim finish second in the entire league? Still haven't figured that one out. So of course, with the high-flying offense of Edmonton, nobody's going to be able to stop us. We have a 3-1 series lead against the Vancouver Canucks, and we're going to close that out with a 7-4 win in game number 5. So we've moved on to the conference finals, but now it's our toughest task yet. It's going to be the Colorado Avalanche versus the Edmonton Oilers. Over in the East, we have the Boston Bruins taking on the New York Rangers. No matter what happens in these next 2 matchups, it's going to be tough for us to win. So our offense has been fantastic throughout the entire postseason up until these last 3 games. 1 goal here, 2 goals here, 2 goals here. We got to start scoring goals again, and Darnell Richmond's going to have to lead the way for us. We scored 1 goal in game number 5 and we're eliminated. Now, it's pretty simple what went wrong with this Edmonton Oilers team. We didn't score in the final 4 games of that series. In game number 1, we looked great. We picked up 7 goals. After that, we didn't score any. Okay, this is beyond ridiculous. Connor McDavid was on the top line with a 99 overall, and he was less than a point a game. That's why we lost. Good to see the games being realistic for us. No, but in all seriousness, that's a bit ridiculous. Connor McDavid, less than a point a game. We're moving on to the Carolina Hurricanes, another playoff team. They're in a really good position here. Not really too sure what we're going to be doing to help this team. Probably going to improve the bottom 6 a little bit. Now, similar to the Edmonton Oilers, there's really not too much we have to do with the Carolina Hurricanes here. The top 6 is absolutely impeccable. The defense is fantastic. Might improve that third pairing by getting rid of Tony DeAngelo and bringing somebody else in. But the goaltending, certainly one thing we don't have to worry about. 89 overall Freddie Anderson. This team's virtually perfect. We really don't have to do too much. So for the Carolina trade, this is what I'm thinking. It's going to be Kotkaniemi, 2 first-round picks, and a couple AHL guys. Over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're bringing in Jake McCabe. He's going to help the third pairing defense. We're going to bring in Matthew Nyes, and we're going to bring in Noah Gregor. Both of those guys are going to help the bottom 6 for this team. It's going to be a really easy deal to get done. Just like that, the deal is complete. Now it's time for Carolina to hoist the Stanley Cup. So we know what the top 6 is looking like. That's not going to change here. But Matthew Nyes is going to be on the third line. We have Kuznetsov and Seth Jarvis. They're getting a +2 boost. Then on that fourth line, we're going to see Noah Gregor jumping in here. Yeah, he's only an 80 overall, and we technically do have an 81 overall. That's a higher overall. But you know what? Noah Gregor has the line fit, so that's why we're going to run him here. And then, of course, Jake McCabe was the other acquisition. He's going to be playing alongside Dmitry Orlov on that third pairing, and they're getting a +2 boost. So with those 2 acquisitions, this team's in a better spot, and I think they're ready to hoist the Stanley Cup. So the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be a top 3 team here, second to be exact, with a 51-26-5 record. Pretty similar to what the Edmonton Oilers did in the last simulation. 3.63 goals per game. Well, the defense, not as good as I thought it would be. 3.06 allowed. Yeah, we got to be better than that in the postseason. Also, the real question is, where are the Anaheim Ducks? Did they exceed expectations once again here? It doesn't look like it. Yes, they did. 14th in the entire league. How does it keep happening? Now, Darnell Richmond, yeah, you might have had 69 goals this season, an incredible year, but 102 points. You should be putting up 130 every single season, 99 in every single attribute category, and you put up 102 points. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. When it comes to the goaltending for this team, Freddie Anderson did his thing, 34 wins, 1 shutout, a 906 and a 286, but I do need better numbers in the postseason. We all know this, and the postseason starts right now. We got the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round. They don't have Jake Getzel anymore. He's on our team, so we should be able to get past them. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins really aren't going to put up that much of a fight. We got a 3-1 series lead, and we're looking to close this one out, and that's exactly what we're doing in Game 5. So we're advancing to the second round, and that means we're going to be taking on the New Jersey Devils. But you know who else is advancing to the second round? The Anaheim Ducks. How does this keep on happening? Now, it's been a back and forth series with the Devils. They took the first 2 games. We're responding, taking the next 2, though. Game 5 is going to be a big one. Who's going to be taking the lead in this series? It looks like it's going to be us, but we got to close out in game number 6 here, and unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that, so we're off to Game 7. So here we go, Game 7. The Devils are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Winners off to the conference finals, and I think that's going to be us. As long as we don't choke here in the third period, we got 7 goals in this one. This is going to be an easy win. So we've made it all the way to the conference finals, and at this point, I just want to see the Carolina Hurricanes take on the Anaheim Ducks, because Anaheim's still alive. How is this team seeing success year after year, simulation after simulation? Anaheim's always here. It makes no sense. So we won the first 2 games, but Boston's going to be winning the next 2, so that means Game 5 is going to be a massive one. Someone's taking the lead in this series, and it looks like it's going to be us. If we win this next game, and if Anaheim wins their next game, that's who we're matching up against in the Stanley Cup final. How does this happen? How is this happening? The Anaheim Ducks taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Like, seriously, this is beyond ridiculous. The Anaheim Ducks making it to the Stanley Cup final. We got a 3-1 series lead, though. Are we going to close it out? Yes, we are. The Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup champions. Darnell Richmond's got his first of the video, but it came against the Anaheim Ducks, and for some reason that just doesn't sit right with me. I mean, I know exactly why it doesn't sit right with me. There's no reason the Anaheim Ducks should have made it this far in the postseason. Darnell Richmond, 29 points here, 19 goals, 10 assists. This dude was an absolute beast when push came to shove. 2 game-winning goals. You can always rely on him when he's on the ice. And when it comes to the goaltending, Freddie Anderson, 16 wins, 2 shots, a 916 to 256. I love the numbers right here. You're looking absolutely fantastic. But you know what? We got to get Darnell Richmond another Stanley Cup, so we got to spin that wheel. So we're 4 teams in here, and Darnell Richmond's finally won his first Stanley Cup, but he's looking to pick up another, and it looks like the next team he's going to be winning a Stanley Cup with is going to be the New Jersey Devils. Now, the New Jersey Devils certainly need some work done to the team. Jack Hughes, Darnell Richmond, Jesper Bratt, Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, they're the only untouchable pieces on the forward core. I'm looking to trade a handful of these guys right here. When it comes to the defense, Siegenthaler or Dougie Hamilton, you're going to be sticking around. Luke Hughes, I'm trading you away because I hate you in this game. For some reason, you're an offensive defenseman that can't produce offensively. And then Nemec, I'm probably going to trade you away just because you're going to have a lot of trade value, and I could probably get somebody who's like an 85 overall based on what your trade value is. And of course, when it comes to goaltending, we got to bring in a new goaltender. So this is the first move we're looking at making. Palat, a first and second round, is going to be sent over to the San Jose Sharks. We really got to get rid of Palat's contract. We're bringing in Zutterlund, we're bringing in Juan Ruda, we're also bringing in Barabanov. These guys can play some fourth line minutes for us. Juan Ruda, he's going to improve the defense here. I think we're going to have to include a bit more in this deal. Never mind, we're getting it done just like this. So we cleared up $6 million, brought in a couple contracts, but this team still got money to work with. So our next move is going to be completed here with the New York Rangers. Luke Hughes and Eric Hall are going to be sent over. We're bringing in Keandre Miller and Ryan Lindgren. They're going to help the defense on this team. And then with our next trade, we're bringing in a goaltender. We're desperately in need of that. The Rangers are getting an absolute steal here, but you know what? We got assets we can work with, and we're going to continue to make this team better. Now, this is going to be the final move for the New Jersey Devils. Kotkaniemi, a third and second round, is going to be sent over to the LA Kings. We're bringing in Kaliev. He's going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. And we're also going to bring in Cam Talbot, who I did not realize is an 86 overall. So yeah, he's going to be a good goaltender for us. We're making this move just like that. So we made a handful of moves to help this team. The bottom 6 is getting upgrades with Barabanov, Kaliev, and Sutherland. The defense is seeing upgrades to the left side. We brought in Keandre Miller and Ryan Lindgren. Those are going to be 2 nice pieces. Juan Ruder is actually not going to be jumping into the lineup because you know what? The guys on the right side have a good enough line fit here. And then when it comes to goaltending, Cam Talbot, you're an 86 overall. Didn't think you were an 86 overall at 36 years old, but if we can win a Stanley Cup with you at 36 years old, that would be a great way to cap off your career. Okay, so I did not expect the New Jersey Devils to be the best team in the entire league with the moves I made. Yeah, our defense is a lot better, but I thought our offense was still lacking when it came to the bottom 6. But nope, here we are, first in the entire league. The boys were looking good this season, and of course, that's going to be led by Darnell Richmond, who's only picking up 58 goals. Okay, this team knows how to score goals without Darnell Richmond. Jack Hughes, 105 points here. Darnell Richmond had 113. Still not enough, though. I have high expectations for him. Cam Talbot was him, though. 48 wins, 4 shots, a 910 and 275. It's time for New Jersey to get a Stanley Cup, and it's time for Darnell to get his second in a row. And the first round's going to be a good warm-up for the boys, the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're not losing. So not really too sure what's going on here. We split the series with the Toronto Maple Leafs so far. We've been exchanging games. What's going to happen in Game 5 here? All right, New Jersey. We're not losing in the first round to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That is tough. All right, we got to move on here. We're not looking at stats. We don't need to see who's winning the Stanley Cup. We just have to move on from losing to the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. This next team should be very easy, the Colorado Avalanche. So rebuilding the Colorado Avalanche is going to be very straightforward here. The top 6 isn't getting touched. The third line is probably not going to get touched. However, I am looking to upgrade the fourth line a little bit. The defense is staying as it is. I mean, it's a great defense. Devon Taves, Cale Makar, what more could you really ask for? When it comes to goaltending though, I would like a better goaltender than Georgiev. We'll see what's available. Okay, so we're going to try to pull off a move like this. Georgiev and a first round pick over to the Boston Bruins. The one thing that's going to make this deal very difficult is I need Boston to retain $1 million, and I don't know how I'm going to get them to retain $1 million. They're going to say no to this deal. Not surprised at that. These are the best picks that we can offer here. This is really the best package we can offer. Hopefully they say yes to it. Yeah, they don't want to retain money on Allmark. I don't really blame them. So we weren't able to get Allmark, but maybe we're going to be able to get Jeremy Swayman here. I'm going to offer this package over. They're going to say no. What can we add to this deal? I mean, we can add some more picks, but I don't think a 5th round is going to be enough to make the difference here. Here's Anaheim's 5th round pick, so that's basically nothing. Okay, yeah, never mind. We're getting Jeremy Swayman. So that was easy. So the team's going to be the exact same, except we have an upgrade in between the pipes. Jeremy Swayman, lead the team to glory. So obviously I have no issue with Colorado finishing first in the entire league, a 54-23-5 record. But there is one thing I have an issue with. Darnell Richmond, you had 118 points, one of the best seasons you've had. 73 goals isn't enough when you're playing alongside Nathan MacKinnon. You had Nathan MacKinnon at your side, and you had 73 points here. Granted, when you play with Connor McDavid, you weren't able to pick up 82 goals. But yeah, 73 goals, that's not enough. I think I said 73 points a couple seconds ago. I meant to say 73 goals. Yeah, you got to be doing better than this. Then again, I am really trying to downplay 73 goals. Like, bro was locked in. And Jeremy Swayman, you were also locked in for this team. 46 wins, 4 shots, a 906 and a 291. Let's get this team another Stanley Cup, making it their second in just 3 seasons. And it looks like the first round's going to start off the same way it did last season for the Colorado Avalanche. We're taking on the Seattle Kraken. So it doesn't look like the Seattle defense can stop the offense right now. We know how to score goals, but is that really much of a surprise? Colorado is absolutely loaded right now. We immediately allowed 8 goals. Yeah, that's not a good look for the team. We can't blow a 3-1 series lead here. We're going to respond with 8 of our own. I'm sorry, but ain't no way I gassed up this team's offense, and then the following game we allowed 8 goals. Like, that just shouldn't happen. Granted, we scored 8 in our next game, but even still, that doesn't sit right with me. We're moving on to what Colorado's first round matchup was in this postseason. That's the Winnipeg Jets. So we've got a 3-1 series lead against the Winnipeg Jets. They were able to steal game 1, but we've been dominating ever since. Basically, this is the exact same as what happened in the actual playoffs, except for this loss right here. Colorado would have actually closed it out. We're going to close it out in game 6. I'm not too worried. So we moved on to the conference finals, and we got ourselves a great matchup. It's going to be the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Edmonton Oilers. I just want to mention so far. So the Colorado Avalanche, they took on the Edmonton Oilers the year they won the Stanley Cup. The year after they won the Stanley Cup, they played the Seattle Kraken in the first round. That's what happened in this simulation. This season in the playoffs, they were able to beat the Winnipeg Jets in the first round. Now granted, we didn't take on the Winnipeg Jets in the first round, but we did beat the Winnipeg Jets. Things are definitely going the Avs way right now, and I think that's going to continue right now. So the Oilers might be taking the first 2 games, but of course the Colorado Avalanche are going to be responding. Game 4 was a big time shutout for the boys. Can we keep it rolling in game number 5? Yes, we can. Okay, I don't know if this is a trend, but I have noticed this. It seems like if you win the first 2 games of the series and then lose the next 2 right after that, you're almost guaranteed to always lose 4 in a row. Let's see if that happens here. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I have simulated enough games. I don't know why that's the case, but if you win the first 2 games and then allow your opponent to win game 3 and game 4, you're almost guaranteed to lose the series, and more than likely you're going to lose 4 straight. It's just a trend I've noticed over a couple videos. But all that talk about trends means absolutely nothing here. It's a best of 7 series. The Avs taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. You got to show up when it matters most. So it's time for the boys to lock in a best of 7 series here, and we got to win 4 games. Okay, I thought we were going to get swept for a second, but things are not looking good for the Colorado Avalanche. Are we really going to make a 3-0 series comeback here? It doesn't look like it, following in the Stanley Cup final in game number 6. If we didn't choke in these first 3 games, we're bringing home the Stanley Cup, no questions about it. Now, this was definitely a tough loss because Darnell Richmond, 16 goals, 10 assists, 26 points here. Nathan MacKinnon, 26 points. Gabriel Landeskog, 22. But when push came to shove, this team just really didn't show up when it mattered. They got to look a lot better than that. Jeremy Swayman, 14 wins here, 1 shot, a 917 to 286. I can't really complain complain about these numbers. I think it was just the offense at the end of the day. In that final series against the Carolina Hurricanes, we just didn't look the best. Now, that was a tough way to go out. Losing in the Stanley Cup final, you never want to see that. I think I'd rather lose in the first round than the Stanley Cup final. We're moving on to our next team, which is going to be the Minnesota Wild. We're allowed to make 3 trades, seeing as they didn't make the playoffs. I feel like this should be a fairly easy rebuild because they do have some good pieces here. Now, I think this rebuild for the Minnesota Wild is actually going to be a lot easier than I was expecting. Kirill Kaprizov, Darnell Richmond, Matt Zuccarello, you got Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson-Ek. Like, this is a really good top 6 we can build around. More than likely, Ryan Hartman's going to get traded, and I think Marco Rossi will probably get traded as well. He's got medium elite potential, so he's going to be a really good trade asset. We could probably get somebody around an 85-86 overall. When it comes to the defense, we might not touch this whatsoever because it actually looks really good. Jonas Brodin, Jared Spurgeon, +5 boost. Brock Faber, Jacob Milton, a +1. And then John Merle and Bogosian, a +1 as well. When it comes to goaltending, can we rely on Marc-Andre Fleury to be the guy for us? It's a 1-season rebuild. We might rock with Fleury, but we also might look for an upgrade. I'm on the fence about Fleury. Like, I don't know if I have 100% faith in him, but you know what? If we could win Fleury one more Stanley Cup, I wouldn't be against it. So here's what I'm thinking. Marco Rossi and 2 4th-round picks over to the Detroit Red Wings. We bring in Lucas Raymond. He can play some second line minutes for us. He'll be a great playmaker. I think this is the right move. And then Ryan Hartman will trade him away, and then we'll bring in some bottom 6 pieces. I'm going to send this package over. They're saying no. I feel like it really shouldn't take too much more. Maybe a second rounder is what's going to make the difference here. Okay, I don't want to give up too much more than this. A second and third rounder is probably the most I'm willing to offer for Lucas Raymond. I'm going to send this package over. Okay, I lied. I'm offering more than this. So here's Marco Rossi, a second, third, fourth, and fifth rounder. This is more than enough. Okay, you're bugging. So here's Marco Rossi and 2 second-round picks. I don't care what it takes. We are getting Lucas Raymond on this team. It's a 1-year rebuild. We got to make moves accordingly. Here's a 4th-round pick as well. Hopefully that's going to be enough. We've made our first trade. Lucas Raymond, welcome to the team. So this is what we're thinking for our next move. It's going to be Marcus Foligno and Carson Lambos over to the Seattle Kraken. We're going to bring in Ty Cartier here and Thomas Tatar. Both of these guys can play some bottom 6 minutes for us. They have great fits there. That's why we're making this move, and that's the only reason we're making a move like this. And then our final move is going to be sending Hartman, Gaudreau, Beckman, a 3rd and 4th round pick over to the St. Louis Blues. We're going to bring in Oscar Sundqvist, Jake Neighbors, and Kevin Hayes. They're going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. We're improving the bottom 6 a ton in a deal like this. Well, I mean, we improved the bottom 6 a ton with our past 2 trades. We basically rebuilt the entire bottom 6. So after making the moves we did, our bottom 6 is looking a lot better here. And even our second line, like Lucas Raymond, he's going to be helping a ton. The defense, that's going to be staying the exact same. And the goaltending, that's staying the exact same as well. I'm not too worried about our defense and goaltending. I was a bit concerned about that bottom 6 though. Okay, this might be one of the weirdest seasons of all time. 7th in the entire league. We won 41 games. We had a 41, 27, and 14 record. What makes it even weirder is with that record right there, we won the Central Division. How did we win the Central Division with that record? I mean, yeah, we have 14 OT losses, so that helps quite a bit. But even still, Colorado, you were not that good this season. No team was actually very good this season. I mean, Carolina was pretty solid. Vancouver, 106 points. But yeah, there wasn't really a standalone team that was like the best in the entire league. I mean, granted, there's a ton of teams better than us. We won 41 games. We're not that team. Darnell, what is this? 94 points. A 94-point season from a 99 overall. Perfect in every single stat category. You're telling me you can't even crack 100? Ain't no way. This team is in utter shambles. This team is just bad. Okay, yeah. I don't know what we're doing here. So I have very low expectations for the postseason. We have the Nashville Predators up first. Let's just see what happens. To be completely honest, we are favored in this series over the Nashville Predators, but even still, we were a 41-win team. I did not expect this to be as smooth as it was. So we moved on to the second round. We got another Central Division team in the Winnipeg Jets. The Central Division was incredibly weak, so I fully expect us to beat this team. So we've gone back and forth with the Winnipeg Jets so far, and we're going to be losing an important Game 5. They got to bounce back in Game number 6 if they have any hopes of winning a Stanley Cup. I guess they don't have hopes of winning a Stanley Cup. We're out in 6. Excuse me? Lucas Raymond, 9 goals, 5 assists, 14 points in 11 games. Are you telling me that this man right here had more points than Darnell Richmond? He had 3 more points than Darnell Richmond. You outscored Darnell. You had more assists than Darnell. The only thing Darnell was better in, picking up game-winning goals. I mean, the big-time players make big-time plays. But you're telling me Lucas Raymond over Darnell Richmond? That doesn't sit right with me. Like, we are talking about Darnell Richmond, one of the greatest players in NHL history. You think Wayne Gretzky's good? Wayne Gretzky can't even compare to Darnell Richmond. We got the LA Kings next. Wayne Gretzky happened to play for this team, but you know what? Darnell's going to have a better career. So we moved on to the LA Kings, and you got some good pieces here. Kempe, Kevin Fiala, Trevor Moore, Anze Kopitar, Philip Deneau. When it comes down the middle, this team's really good. Like, we have a great center core here. Defensively, we're really good here. I mean, I don't have a problem with the defense. I do have a problem with the line chemistry, though. This ain't it. Plain and simple. And when it comes to goaltending, Cam Talbot, we can rely on you for one season. So I think this is the trade we're going to do. Honestly, it's really difficult to make a trade with LA because, one, they don't really have too much cap space to work with, but they also don't have the greatest contracts on the team. I'm looking at Pierre-Luc Dubois. Like, we're paying this man $8.3 million to play fourth line minutes. That's just not going to work. So it's going to be Arvidsson, Dubois, Gavrikov, a first and second rounder sent over to the Anaheim Ducks. We're bringing in Cam Fowler, Racco Gudis, Frank Vetrano, and Lundestrom. They're going to bring some good bottom six help. These guys are going to be doing everything for us. They're helping the defense, helping the forward core here. This is a big time move for us. Hopefully this can help us win a Stanley Cup, but it's going to be really tricky. The coach that we have right now, yeah, he doesn't have good line fits with anyone. So after making the moves that we did, this is what the team's looking like. Frank Vetrano, he's going to be holding it down the second line alongside Kopitar and Moore, and then we're going to have Lundestrom playing some bottom six minutes for us. He's going to be our fourth line center. When it comes to the defense, Cam Fowler's going to have to play first pairing minutes, because if we do something like this, then we're not getting a boost on the second line. But you know what? An 85 is an 85, so Mikey Anderson, you can play some second line minutes. You actually have a better fit there, and then Racco Gudis, you're playing second pairing minutes as well, and you're giving us a +1 boost. I feel like when it comes to this LA Kings team, we're either going to be a really good team, one of the best in the entire league, or we're going to be really, really bad this season. I don't think there's anywhere in between. This is definitely the riskiest team we've rebuilt so far. I have a lot of questions about the core that we're trying to win with here. Now, I do want to point out, I said we were either going to be top 5 or we were going to be bottom 5. We're 5th exactly here with a 47, 26, and 9 record, so I was dead on with that prediction. Now, of course, the reason we saw as much success as we did was because of Darnell Richmond. Bro picked up 69 goals here, 107 points. Philip Deneau, you had 41 points, or -21. I am very concerned about that third line. Those guys were absolutely abysmal. I mean, the fourth line also wasn't great here, so yeah, our bottom 6 sucks. But you know what? Our top 6 can definitely lead the way here. And when it comes to goaltending, Cam Talbot, yeah, these are numbers. Definitely not numbers we can live with, so hopefully you turn it up in the postseason. And I am very concerned seeing as our first matchup is against the Edmonton Oilers, a team that's notorious for scoring a lot of goals. So it's time to see if our theory is correct here. We lost the first 2 games, won the next 2 after that. Are we going to proceed to win the next 4 games and take out the Edmonton Oilers? We won game number 5. Can we win game number 6 here and the theory is true? At this point, you have to believe it. If you lose the first 2 games of the series, you're winning 4 straight after that. It's guaranteed every time. So we were able to get past the Edmonton Oilers, but now we got an even tougher task in front of us. One of the best teams in the entire league, the Vancouver Canucks. So far, we've been competing with the Vancouver Canucks, exchanging games up until game 5 here. Someone's going to be taking the lead in the series. It looks like it's going to be the Vancouver Canucks. Are the LA Kings going to find a way to respond in game number 6? Yes, they are, so that means we're off to game 7. So here we go, game 7. The LA Kings taking on the Vancouver Canucks. In the first period, Kaliev's going to be picking up the first goal of the game, and then Philip Deneau and Byfield picking up another 2 goals. We got this one locked down. We have 3 goals in the game already, and we're going to be taking this one 4-2. So we made to the conference finals. We took down one of the best in the Vancouver Canucks and another great team in the Edmonton Oilers. The Colorado Avalanche, though, they might be the toughest task yet. So after all the great luck we've had so far, we won game 1. We're not going to talk about what happened in the next 3 games after that, but we're hoping we can just keep on winning games here. We're picking up 8 goals in game number 5. What are we going to do in game number 6 here? Well, we're going to keep our hopes alive. We're taking that one 4-2. So this is going to be a big game for the LA Kings. If we win this one, we're off to the Stanley Cup final. It's tied entering the 3rd period. The 3rd period is going to decide this one. Who's picked up the goals here? No one on LA. But Colorado's going to find a way to pick up 3. So Darnell Richmond, he's had a great career so far. He's made a handful of Stanley Cup finals, and he's made a lot of deep runs in the postseason. However, it's also only resulted in 1 Stanley Cup. Like, this man has not seen success late in the playoffs. He might make it to the conference finals. He might even make it to the Stanley Cup final. But this guy rarely ever wins, and most of the time, it's not really his fault. However, this time I will put a bit of blame on him. Never mind, I'm taking that back. Bro had 19 goals in 20 games. I was about to say it's all Darnell's fault. Like, Kopitar outscored you and he's only an 88 overall. You're a 99 overall. But then again, you had 19 goals, 6 assists, 25 points. The team was looking incredible here. What really held us back? Goaltending. I should have known that. Cam Talbot, you're just not that guy anymore. So Darnell, we got to get you another Stanley Cup here. You're in a great drought right now, and we just can't have that continue. Okay, I'm sorry to say, but it is going to continue. We're not winning with the San Jose Sharks in a 1-season rebuild. I'm pretty sure that's impossible. All right, so here's the plan when it comes to rebuilding the San Jose Sharks. We are going to bank on line chemistry being so incredibly important that it somehow gets us into the playoffs. Klim Kostin, you have a great fit on the first line. Darnell Richmond, a perfect fit. Barabanov, a near perfect perfect fit. You guys are getting a +3 boost. So you can basically say we have a 102 overall player. Barabanov would be an 84 overall, and Klim Kostin would be an 83. Yeah, it's not a great first line, but I think we could sneak into the playoffs with it. When it comes to the defense, we almost have to rebuild this entire defensive core, and we also have to rebuild the goaltending tandem. Yeah, I don't know how this team's going to see success if I'm being completely honest. Out of all the teams we're rebuilding today, this team right here and the Chicago Blackhawks probably going to be the only two teams that miss the playoffs. So this is going to be the first trade we're looking at completing here. It's going to be Logan Couture, a prospect, a 3rd and 4th rounder, over to the Seattle Kraken. We're going to bring in Tolvanen, and he's going to play some top 6 minutes for us. And we're also going to be bringing in Bjorkstrand, another guy that's going to play some top 6 minutes. I feel like this is a pretty fair deal, although they're saying no to it. I feel like if we change some of these picks, we can get it done. So maybe if I take out the 3rd and 4th rounder and just make that a 2nd rounder instead, we'll be able to get this deal done. So I'm going to offer this package over. They're saying no, but we're pretty close. So here's the most lucrative pick in the game, a 7th round pick, and just like that, we've got this trade complete. So San Jose's 1st rounder, Mackenzie Blackwood, a prospect, a 1st round from the Vegas Golden Knights, and then Mario Ferraro is going to be sent over to the Nashville Predators. We're bringing in UC Saros, Luke Shen, and Novak. Hopefully this package is enough to get it done. I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, so we're going to use a different 1st round pick. So instead of using Vegas's 1st round pick, we're going to use Pittsburgh's 1st round pick and San Jose's for 2025, and this package right here will be enough to get it done. Okay, so now this is the trade that I want to try to complete before we head into next season. Max Domi, Jake McCabe, Edmondson, and Nyes. That's going to fix our bottom 6. That's also going to fix our defensive pairings. I'm not sure if this package is going to be enough. Okay, never mind. We're getting all 4 of those players. That's huge for us. So if you were to ask me what my expectations for this team are heading into the season, probably 20th in the entire league. This is not a good team still. I mean, we had very little to work with, but considering what we did have to work with, we're in a much better spot. Darnell Richmond, Barabanov, Klim Kostin, Tolvanen, Eklund, Bjorkstrand on the 2nd line, Matthew Nyes, Granlund, Max Domi, and then Mike Hoffman, Novak, and Zetterlund on the 4th line. The defense is absolutely cooked. No question about that. Like, we are not making the playoffs with a defense that looks like this. However, we do have UC Saros in between the pipes, and that can make a big difference. Okay, I'm the greatest GM of all time, plain and simple, 7th in the entire league with a 43, 28, and 11 record. There's no reason the San Jose Sharks should be 7th in the entire league. That just doesn't make sense. Alright, I'm taking back everything I just said. Darnell Richmond, -7, 99 in every single stat category. Bro had 82 points in 82 games and was -7. I don't care what happened this season. I don't care about the playoff matchups. I don't care about anything. Darnell Richmond, how did you have that bad of a season? We're taking on Calgary in the 1st round. Let's get this over with quick. So we were going back and forth with the Calgary Flames up until game 5. That's when we took over, and we're taking this one in a 6-game series. So we made it through the 1st round against the Calgary Flames, but now we got an even tougher matchup in the 2nd round, the Vegas Golden Knights. Similar to the series against the Calgary Flames, not too much is happening through the first 4 games. We've exchanged the series so far. It's 2-2. So what's game 5 going to be showing us? Are we taking the lead once again? Yes, we are. No way this team right here is going to make it to the conference finals. We are the San Jose Sharks. What is going on here? What's really going on? Now I can confidently say we're losing in the conference finals. We are taking on the Colorado Avalanche. We're not beating Colorado, plain and simple. And just like that, reality is setting for the team. We're getting swept to the Colorado Avalanche. All is right in the world now. Now that's another conference finals exit for Darnell Richmond, but if we're being completely fair, there's no reason that we should have even made it to the conference finals, so I will take that as a win. Also, the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup, so shout out to them, I guess. Meanwhile, if you're curious on what Darnell Richmond did in the postseason, bro was incredible. 14 goals in 16 games. He had 21 points. He was exactly a point a game during the regular season, but in the postseason, that's when this guy knows how to step it up. Also, UC Saros, I'm not expecting great numbers from you. You had a 320. Look at the team in front of you. A 320 is pretty good. So give me another playoff team. I want to see Darnell Richmond win a Stanley Cup. We got the Washington Capitals. This team barely made the playoffs, so we're only allowed to do 1 trade with them. And Washington, they definitely need more than 1 trade. Now I'm going to be completely honest. It might be harder to win with the Washington Capitals than it was with the San Jose Sharks. With the San Jose Sharks, we were allowed to make 3 trades. With the Washington Capitals, that's not the case here. We're only allowed to make 1, seeing as they did make the playoffs. We're not winning with this team, plain and simple. Like, we really have to choose what we're fixing. Are we fixing the goaltending? Are we going to fix the forward core here because the bottom 6 isn't that great? Are we going to fix the defense? That can be improved a little bit. We have to choose one of those 3 things. So I think this is going to be the lone move we make here. We're going to try to fix all 3 issues we have. Jacob Markstrom, you're going to be the goaltender. Sharon Govich, you're going to help the bottom 6 here. And Shillington, you're going to help the defense. We're going to have to give up 2 first-round picks. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really matter what we give up here. It's a 1-year rebuild. I'm going to overpay on almost every single trade I do. So we've changed up the lines a little bit here. It's going to be Alexander Ovechkin, Dylan Strome, Darnell Richmond on the first line. then Tom Wilson, Sharon Govich, and Max Pacioretty on the second. When it comes to the defense, Shillington's going to play some third pairing minutes for us, and when it comes to goaltending, Jacob Markstrom's going to be the guy for us. Now, it's not much of a surprise here. The Washington Capitals weren't super successful, 10th in the entire league with a 45-29-8 record. We can't play defense. Like, it all comes down to that. Like, this team can certainly score goals because Darnell Richmond, he's picking up 115 points here, 65 goals. Alexander Ovechkin, he had 47 here. Like, this team had zero issue scoring. Like, the issue arises in the fact that we don't play defense here. A save percentage of 900 and a 318 for Markstrom. You're not winning a Stanley Cup with these numbers here. But we all know the playoffs are just a completely different animal. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets in the first round. Good to see we got ourselves a realistic matchup. So, unfortunately, we're losing in the first round because we won the first 2 games, but we lost the next 2 after that. You already know what that means. We're going to be losing 4 in a row here. We're dropping game 3. Are we going to be ruining that trend of winning the first 2 games and losing 4 straight after that? We won game number 5. Can we win game number 6 here? It's simulating very slowly here, but we are going to be losing that one, so that means we need game 7. So we got a big time game 7 here. The Washington Capitals taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Each team's going to be picking up a goal in the first period. In the second, though, we're going to be picking up 3 here. We got this locked down. Yes, we do. We're taking this one 6-2. So I'm very impressed with the Washington Capitals getting by the Columbus Blue Jackets, but we do have to remember it was the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now we're moving on to the second round. We have the Buffalo Sabres to take on, another team that didn't make the postseason in real life. So yeah, if we can just make it to the conference finals, that would be great. So what's happening in this series? Well, we won the first 2 games, similar to the last one, and then we dropped 2 straight after that. Is it going to be 3 straight losses? Are we going to be winning here? That's 3 straight losses. What's happening in game number 6? Are we going to be losing another one here? Nope, we're actually forcing game 7. So I think we can officially say that trend of winning the first 2 games and losing 4 straight after that, or losing the first 2 games and winning 4 straight after that, that trend is now dead. Yeah, so the recording was paused there. We lost in OT. Yanni Gourde picked up the OT winner for the Buffalo Sabres. Darnell Richmond picked up a late goal in the third period, but yeah, that was a tough one. Tough loss right there. But you know what? We lost in OT. You guys didn't need to see that. Now, I haven't made one of these in a while, but I think it's time for it. A stick on the ice statement. Darnell Richmond's going to be winning 2 Stanley Cups in the next 5 years. It has been absolutely disappointing for the fact that we're probably about 10 seasons in so far, and Darnell Richmond's only won 1 Stanley Cup. Bro is a 99 overall, perfect in every single attribute category, and still can't win. That changes now. Like, seriously, what else does this man have to do? 11 goals, 5 assists for 16 points in 14 games. He's doing absolutely everything he can. The rest of the team, though, they're not performing when it matters most. Look at Jacob Markstrom's numbers. We can't win with this. So let's see if we're going to be able to win with this next team right here. Hopefully it's a good team. The Nashville Predators, you know what? We can work with that. Nashville doesn't really need too much work done to them. I think we might be able to win a Stanley Cup with them. So when it comes to rebuilding the Nashville Predators here, I think we're going to focus mainly on the bottom 6 because they actually have a decent enough defense that we can work with here. Roman Josi, Fabreau, Carrier, Lazon, Ryan McDonough, and Luke Shen. Like, this is certainly a good enough defense that we can win with, especially with UC Saros in between the pipes. So if we are going to upgrade one weakness on this team, I think it's got to be the bottom 6. So this is the trade we're going to make here. Gustav Nyquist, Tyson Barrie, a first rounder, and Anthony Angelo over to the Ottawa Senators in order for us to bring Ridley Gregg to the team, Joseph and Kubalik. They're going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. They're going to help the team a ton. Now you might be wondering why I would make a trade like this, especially since Nyquist is an 85 overall. This man right here has terrible line fits, so there's nothing we can really do here. We got to trade him away, and this is the trade package we're going to do. So that trade with the Ottawa Senators is going to allow Joseph to play some second line minutes for us. Ridley Gregg's going to play some third line minutes, while Kubalik's going to play some fourth line minutes. Is this team going to be able to win a Stanley Cup with Darnell Richmond at the top? Probably not. I just don't believe in the bottom 6 here. Although we did improve it with that one trade, I don't think it's going to be enough still. So I'm happy to say the Nashville Predators are going to see a lot more success than the Washington Capitals did. We're second in the entire league with a 50, 25, and 7 record, and we actually might be able to win a Stanley Cup with this team right here. I also do want to point out one of the best defenses in the entire league, if not the best defense, 2.65, Nashville's sitting at the top. Now with Nashville sitting at the top, you know this man absolutely dominated. Darnell Richmond, I believe this might be the best season he's had yet. 74 goals, 45 assists for 119 points. Forsberg's picking up 98 points, and of course, St. Louis legend Ryan O'Reilly, he's going to help lead the way. He's got 86. When it comes to goaltending, UC Saros, we already know you can be the guy. 41 wins, 5 shots, and 919 to 258. We just need this success right here to translate into the postseason. We got the Seattle Kraken in the first round. Seattle's been putting up a really good fight so far. We split the series with them in game 5. We're going to be dropping that one as well. We continue to split the series here, so that means we're going to win game 6 and we'll be off to game 7. Oh boy, that did not really happen. So we're going to lose game 6 3-0. We're already eliminated after finishing second in the entire league. Yeah, you hate to see it, you really do. So Colorado's winning the Stanley Cup here, but the one thing that we do have to point out, I believe this is the first time in Darnell Richmond's career where he's lost in the first round. Seattle was really able to do that to him. I can't forgive them for that. And to make things even worse, Darnell Richmond was mid, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points in 6 games. how the mighty have fallen. So I had high hopes for the Nashville Predators, and I mean, we finished second in the entire league, so things were looking good. Up until the playoffs, of course, and then things completely fell apart. The Chicago Blackhawks are basically going to be the opposite of the Nashville Predators. There's a lot of rebuilding to do here, and I don't see us seeing any success in the playoffs, even with Darnell Richmond. So when it comes to the Chicago Blackhawks, plain and simple, we have 4 untouchable pieces here. Darnell Richmond, of course, Taylor Hall, Connor Bedard, and Seth Jones. Everyone else is up for grabs. That includes Kevin Korchinski, because if I can trade him away and bring in an 87 overall defenseman, I would definitely do that. Goaltending wise, yeah, we need better than this, plain and simple. So when it comes to a trade like this, we got to pick up our star-studded defensemen, JJ Moser, Sean Durzi. I already knew these guys were coming to the team, and we're also going to pick up Connor Ingram. Now, Connor Ingram, I'm on the fence about because he's only a 1 overall jump compared to Peter Mrazek. However, for some reason, I just have a lot more faith in Connor Ingram. I just feel like the way he simulates in this game is a lot better than Peter Mrazek, so I think he could be our goaltender. We're going to give out Kevin Korchinski, of course, Peter Mrazek, Frank Nazar, and a second-round pick, but we're going to be helping our defense a lot here, and the goaltending situation is going to be a lot better for us. And then I think with our next deal, we're going to get risky. 2 first-rounders, Lucas Reichel, and 2 prospects over to the Calgary Flames. We're bringing in Nazem Kadri. I'm just going to hope that he can play some big-time minutes on this team. Sharon Govich and Blake Coleman. We're going to hope Blake Coleman has a good fit. Sharon Govich, you're going to play some bottom 6 minutes. We have a ton of cap space right now, so that's why it's possible for us to do a deal like this. Is it going to work out for us? I have no clue. But you know what? It's worth the risk. And then our final trade heading into next season, 2 first-round picks, Tyler Johnson, Zaitsev, and an AHL player for Chris Letang, Joseph, and Bunting. Bunting's going to help our bottom 6 a lot here, while Chris Letang and Joseph, they're going to be helping the defense. Do we have to give up 2 first-round picks? Absolutely not, but I just want to make this deal simple for us. So this is the team that we're going to rock with right here. Are we going to be able to make the playoffs? I think we could. We actually have a decent enough team here. When you look at the defense, no weaknesses here. 82 overalls are the lowest overall. However, when it comes to goaltending, Connor Ingram, can you be the guy for us? That's the main question here. We're going to have to play a 75 overall at some point. That's not really ideal for the team, but you know what? I think we're all right. We're good enough to make the playoffs. Are we good enough to win a Stanley Cup? Absolutely not. We don't have a hope. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. Now, I can't complain about what Chicago did this season. We somehow made the playoffs, a 43, 32, and 7 record. You know what? We're in the postseason. There's literally nothing I can complain about. The scoring numbers on this team obviously aren't going to be that great. Richmond, 99 points. Connor Bedard's picking up 83. Nazem Kadri, 69. We didn't really have a true playmaker on this team, so I'm not surprised that Richmond and Bedard's numbers aren't what I want them to be. When it comes to Connor Ingram, you know what? These aren't as bad as what Peter Mrazek would have put up. Then again, Peter Mrazek was an 84 overall. He might have done perfectly fine here, but we got Colorado in the first round. We're getting smoked. Now, I never thought I'd say these words. The Chicago Blackhawks are up 3-1 on the Colorado Avalanche in the year 2024. Reality is starting to set in. More than likely, we're off to Game 7. What's going to happen here? Why did it not simulate that game? That was kind of weird. But we're simulating this one. Wow, we're actually off to the second round. Who would have thought? So we moved on to the second round after taking down the Colorado Avalanche. If we can take down Colorado, we can take down anyone. So we've split the series with Minnesota so far. We got to take Game 5 here. Are we going to be able to do that? Yes, we are. We're picking up 7 goals here. Can we close it out in game number 6? What is going on? So we've reached the conference finals with the Chicago Blackhawks. Never thought I would say those words. Like, this makes no sense right here. But Darnell, he's having an incredible postseason run. Hopefully it continues here. So all of this right here, that makes a lot more sense. We're losing in the conference finals. We got smoked in every game. So if we were able to beat the Vancouver Canucks, we probably would have won the Stanley Cup. But instead, the Vancouver Canucks are taking it home over the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I will say, I'm incredibly impressed with how our team performed here. There is no reason the Blackhawks should have made to the conference finals. Darnell Richmond, 18 points in 16 games, 9 goals, 9 assists. Not too much more you could have done here. I'm going to call you Mr. Conference Finals because you've made the conference finals way too many times in this video for you to only have 1 Stanley Cup. So we weren't able to win with the Chicago Blackhawks. Hopefully we can win a Stanley Cup with this next team. We have the Arizona Coyotes or Utah, whatever they're going to be called. So Darnell Richmond's moved on to the Utah Yetis. That's what I'm calling them from here on out. Darnell Richmond, Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz on the top line. We might trade Logan Cooley and we might trade Dylan Gunther. They have high trade value. Of course, they have elite potential. We can get a handful of assets for those guys right there. Defensively, JJ Moser and Sean Durzi, you guys are sticking around long term. However, when it comes to goaltending, Connor Ingram, you couldn't win us a Stanley Cup with Chicago. I don't think you're going to be able to do it here, so we're going to trade you away. All right, so this is the play. Logan Cooley, a second rounder, Josh Stone, Soderstrom, and a 7th rounder over to the Winnipeg Jets. We bring in Tyler Toffoli for the second line, Dylan DeMello for the defense, and Sean Monahan for the bottom 6. 3 massive upgrades to the team. This is definitely the move. They're saying no because of the 7th rounder. I'll give you a 4th round pick. I don't care about a 4th rounder. As long as we can get this deal done, I'm going to be happy. And there we go. We got the deal complete. All right, so if we get this done, we're winning a Stanley Cup. Dylan Gunther, Ingram, McBain, and 2 second-round picks over to the Vegas Golden Knights for Aiden Hill, Noah Hannafin, and Chandler Stevenson. If we get this done, okay, yeah, we're winning a Stanley Cup. We are making moves out here. Thank God this is also only a 1-year rebuild. We're not bringing anyone back. We do not have the cap space for it. Now with this final trade right here, you might think stick on the ice is not cooking in the slightest. Picking up a guy like Logan Couture, but we have to remember it's a 1-year rebuild. Logan Couture is an 85 and he fits on the second line. He's going to be our second line playmaker. I'm very surprised they're saying no to a deal like this. I'll give you 2 second-round picks. I really don't care that much, but I thought a second and third would be enough. So here you go. Just 2 seconds and an AHL player. Give me Logan Couture and we'll call it a deal. So after all the moves we made, here's what we're looking at. Darnell Richmond, Nick Schmaltz, Clayton Keller, Chandler Stevenson, Logan Couture, Tyler Toffoli is the top 6. The bottom 6 looks pretty solid here. The defense looks even better. Like, this is a really good defense. And then we have Aiden Hill in between the pipes. We might be a top 3 team. I actually believe in the core we have. All right, so Arizona was incredible. A 54-20-8 record, scoring almost 4 goals per game. And if we're scoring that much, Darnell Richmond had an incredible season. Can we get 82 goals in 82 games here? Can we do the impossible? Hold on. This right here, no sense. This makes no sense. 91 goals, 46 assists, 137 points. 91 goals. Yeah, we have to win a Stanley Cup here. We can't fold. This team has to show up when it matters most. I can't believe Darnell Richmond just did that. The greatest player of all time. Don't care about the goaltending numbers. I don't care about anything. Darnell Richmond is him. We got to win a Stanley Cup. Bro just picked up 91 goals. All right, so we actually aren't choking in the first round. I was fully expecting this team to lose to Seattle, but you know what? If we can close this out in 5 games, I won't be against that. If we close this out in 6 games, I will not be against that. There we go. We're taking it 7-6. Now we got to keep the motion going here. We got some motion with this team. Darnell Richmond's got the motion. Everyone's got motion right now. But Colorado, they also have motion, so I'm a bit scared. All right, so we won the first 2 games, and then we lost the next 2 after that. I think we all know what's about to happen here. Is it going to be the massive collapse for the Arizona Coyotes? I forgot that trend's no longer a thing. We're going to take down Colorado here after we go to Game 7, of course. So Darnell Richmond, you picked up 91 goals during the regular season. You guys score some goals in this game right here. Okay, you have to score 5 goals in the third period. Can you do that? That did not just happen. Okay, let's spin that wheel. I don't want to look at the stats. I don't want to look at anything. 6-0 in Game 7 after bro picked up 91 goals. Like, you gotta be kidding me. He's a 99 overall, perfect in every single attribute category, picked up 91 goals, and we still can't get out of the second round. This man's never going to win another Stanley Cup. We got the Montreal Canadiens. That's another team that should be fairly easy to rebuild. They got a lot of young prospects that we can trade away. They got value, and we're going to maximize that value. So when it comes to rebuilding the Montreal Canadiens, this is basically the plan here. We're going to bring in a playmaker to play alongside Darnell Richmond and Nick Suzuki. The second line here I think is good enough. Kirby, Doc, Slavkovsky, and Cole Caulfield getting a +2 boost. We got some great players here. I would like to rebuild the bottom 6 a bit. I do think that is a bit weak. When it comes to the defensive core here, Lane Hudson, I am going to be trading you away because you have really high trade value, and we can bring in a player that's going to help us right now. Same with David Reinbacher. Both of those guys are going to get traded away. And then when it comes to goaltending, we got to bring in like an 85 or 86 overall. Haven't decided which yet. So this is the first trade we're going with, and I think it's going to help us a lot. Reinbacher, Primeau, Gallagher, and 2 second rounders over to the St. Louis Blues. We're going to bring in Jordan Binnington to be our goaltender, 86 overall. I know for a fact he can win a Stanley Cup because he's done it before. And then Jordan Kyrou, we're probably going to have you play out of position. I think you're going to be a left winger for us. We just need a playmaker on our first line. That's what you're going to do for us. So hopefully St. Louis is willing to accept this deal. The only reason I didn't think they would is because Brendan Gallagher. I didn't think they would want to take on that contract, but you know what? We got that deal done, and I'm definitely happy about it. So this is what we're cooking up. It's going to be Lane Hudson, David Savard, Joel Armia, and a first-round pick over to the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to bring in Brett Burns. He's going to be our #1 right defenseman, and we're going to bring in Brady Shea. He's going to play some top 4 pairing minutes for us. 2 great defensemen that are going to help this team a ton. So this is going to be the final deal that we're going to be doing here. It's going to be Josh Anderson and 2 first-round picks over to the Rangers. We'll bring in Capo Caco, Philip Hito, and Jack Roslovic. They're going to help the bottom 6 a ton here. I'm really hoping the Rangers are willing to accept this because, I mean, they don't want Josh Anderson's contract. Nobody wants that contract right now. But if we can somehow get this deal done by giving up extra picks, then it definitely will be worth it. They're saying no to this, but you know what? We have a ton of first-round picks we can work with. Here's Calgary's first-rounder as well. So it's going to be 3 first-round picks and Josh Anderson. Is this a lot? Absolutely. Would I make a trade like this under normal circumstances? Absolutely not. But you know what? It's a 1-season rebuild. It doesn't matter what it costs. We got to win Stanley Cups. So after making the moves we did, Jordan Kyrou is definitely going to be helping the top line here. Capo Caco, Philip Hito, and Jack Roslovic are going to be great additions to the bottom 6. When it comes to the defense, that's where we're seeing the big upgrades. Brady Shea and Brett Burns are going to be helping a ton here. But when it comes to goaltending, we got one of the best in the entire game. Jordan Binnington, we know what Binner's capable of. So the Montreal Canadiens were absolutely phenomenal. One of the best teams we've seen since this rebuild began. A 56-24-2 record. The offense was flying, but the defense was absolutely absolutely spectacular. Below 3 goals per game, we always love to see that. And other things we love to see, Darnell Richmond having incredible years like this, 75 goals, 43 assists, 118 points. Last time you had a great season like this, it didn't end too well, but you know what? We're looking for a different result this time, and with Benner in between the pipes, nothing's going to be able to stop us. Especially the Ottawa Senators, because that's the team we're taking on in the first round. We're not losing to Ottawa. And of course, the Montreal Canadiens aren't messing around. We're taking the Ottawa Senators down in a sweep. So the first round was some light work for us. Obviously, the Ottawa Senators can't compete with the new and improved Montreal Canadiens. The Florida Panthers, on the other hand, they're going to put up a good fight. So Florida won the first 2 games, and honestly, I thought it was going to be a sweep, but finally the team woke up. They won the next 2 games. Who's going to be taking game number 5 here? It looks like it's going to be the Florida Panthers. So Montreal's on the brink of elimination here. They got to bounce back when it matters most, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're off to game 7. So here we go. We got game 7. Montreal Canadiens taking on the Florida Panthers. This is going to be a massive game here. Darnell Richmond's got to show up in the third period. We need Darnell Richmond to carry us to glory here, and that's exactly what's happening. That's actually exactly what's happening. This man picked up 2 goals here. When I was saying, oh yeah, Darnell's going to carry the way, I was expecting maybe 1 point, an assist or something. No, this man picked up 2 goals in the third period, and we're off to the conference finals. Now, we all understand that the greatness of Darnell Richmond's unmatched. However, he does have one thing that can beat him every single time: conference finals. This man cannot get through the conference finals, but you know what? We have a chance to do that here. All we have to do is beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it looks like it might happen. Darnell Richmond, he has another chance here, making it to the Stanley Cup final, and he's going to do it. In game number 5 here, we're taking this one 3-2. Darnell, here's another chance at a Stanley Cup for you. So it all comes down to this one final matchup. All we have to do is beat the Colorado Avalanche, and Darnell Richmond will be a Stanley Cup champion once again. The Montreal Canadiens have looked elite so far. I'm not too sure if Colorado's right for us. Like, plain and simple, Colorado is not prepared for the Montreal Canadiens. Everyone's been counting this team out, but you know who they have? Darnell Richmond. Okay, we lost 3 straight games here. Is it going to be 4 in a row? No, it's not. Okay, we can respond here. All we have to do is win game number 6, which we are, and we're off to game 7. Stanley Cup final. Darnell, I need a masterclass from you. So one final game to settle it all. Darnell Richmond, we need a masterclass here. What are you going to be doing in the third period? Because the third period is going to decide this one. Kirby Dach led the way. Out of all players, it's Kirby Dach saving the day. We're a Stanley Cup champions because of Kirby Dach. Who would have thought? I mean, granted, Darnell Richmond did have 20 goals in 23 games and 7 assists for 27 points, so bro was elite. But you know who is even more elite? Jordan Binnington's an absolute legend. We all know this. One of the best goaltenders in the league. He just doesn't have the team in front of him right now. 16 wins, 1 shot, a 920 and a 260. If Jordan Binnington's in between the pipes in the playoffs, you better be prepared, because this man's going to put on a masterclass. So we won the Montreal Canadiens the Stanley Cup, the first Canadian team to be winning one in this video. We're moving on to our next team, the New York Rangers. There's basically nothing we have to do with the Rangers. We're going to give them Darnell Richmond and then 1 move for the bottom 6. Alright, so when it comes to rebuilding this team right here, we're only making 1 trade, of course, because the Rangers made the playoffs. But this team looks incredible already. Zibanejad, Panarin, Darnell Richmond, Lafreniere, Trocheck, Chris Kreider. The bottom 6 is great here. The defense is even better, and look at the line chemistry. We're in a great spot right now. And when it comes to goaltending, we got Shesterkin. I'm not worried in the slightest. So this is what I'm thinking for the trade. It's going to be Lafreniere and Jimmy Vesey over to the Detroit Red Wings. We bring in Lucas Raymond. He's going to have a good fit on the second line. That's where he's going to play. Because right now, Lafreniere, he doesn't have a good fit there. When it comes to David Perron, he can play some third pairing minutes for us. This is going to be a good trade for sure. Unfortunately, they are saying no to this. But you know what? We can throw as many picks as we want to this deal. Let's start with this first round pick. I mean, let's just make it easy on ourselves. And a first rounder should be enough to get this done. They're saying no to that, so we're going to have to do 2 first rounders. But you know what? 2 first rounders in order to win a Stanley Cup, it's definitely worth making that trade. Okay, so Detroit wants to make the deal, but they don't want to retain salary. You know what? I don't care what you want. You're accepting this deal. Here's a 4th round pick as well, and that should be enough to get this done. I'll give you a 4th round pick just to accept it. They're saying no. What else do we have to work with? Like, the Rangers have to have 1 good prospect that has a bit of value here. This guy right here, we're going to throw him in the deal, and hopefully that's going to be enough for Detroit to accept. Bro, accept the deal. So if we have them only retain 1.4 million, is this going to be enough to get the deal done? They're saying yes, and just like that, we got this deal done. Now we have to manage the cap a little bit, and that's where things are going to get difficult. So David Perron, what a great pickup that was. You have a great line fit here, getting a +1 boost. Lucas Raymond, on the other hand, what were our scouts looking at? Because you have 0 line fit here whatsoever. That was a very pointless trade to make, but you know what? You're a couple overalls higher than Lafreniere. It's going to work out in the long run for us. So the Rangers finished with a 56-22-4 record, 2nd in the entire league. Ain't no way this record is 2nd in the entire league. We were better offensively than Boston and better defensively, but yet we finished 2nd because that makes so much sense. Seasons like that just annoy me. Like, we're literally better than the best team in the entire league in every single category, yet we're second. Darnell Richmond, 64 goals, 44 assists, 108 points. Panarin, 108. Zibanejad, 98 here. Yeah, the team's rolling. The offense is looking great. The goaltending's going to be fantastic. We got Igor Shesterkin. He's got 6 shutouts. I'm not concerned, but we do have a tough matchup in the first round. Because this team right here is definitely not a wildcard team. They're going to put up a good fight. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Granted, they were a wildcard team this season, but you know what? You can never count this team out right here. Yeah, so maybe I was yapping a bit too much here. The Tampa Bay Lightning are complete frauds, and we're taking them down to 5-game series. Okay, we are not blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Good, we're closing out in game 6, 5-0. I was getting a bit concerned there, though. So we have ourselves a legit second round matchup. The New York Rangers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, and it looks like even in the simulation, things are going to go the Rangers' way. They have a 3-1 series lead against the Carolina Hurricanes. Can they close it out in game number 5 here? Yes, they can. They're off to the conference finals. Darnell Richmond's made it there again. So we made to the conference finals. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs. So yeah, who are we taking on the Stanley Cup final? Anaheim or Edmonton? I'm already looking past this matchup. We're not losing. Okay, now this is actually pretty funny. We swept the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was making jokes about how we were going to take this team down, but I did not think it would be in a sweep, and I definitely didn't think the series clinching game we would score 7 goals, but we moved on to the Stanley Cup final. We have the Edmonton Oilers to take on. Darnell Richmond, we need a masterclass from you. We're winning 2 straight games here. Can we make it 3 straight in game number 5? Yes, we can. Can we make it 4 straight in game number 6? Darnell Richmond, back-to-back Stanley Cups. You're on a heater right now. But are we really surprised that the New York Rangers won? I mean, we added 99 overall Darnell Richmond, who's picking up 15 goals and 13 assists for 28 points. He played alongside Zibanejad. We have Panarin here. Lucas Raymond, what a great pickup that was. 21 points here in 21 games. This team is great from top to bottom. Literally no weaknesses. Shesterkin played fantastic, a 927 and a 233. Who was really stopping us? Let's be honest. So that's back-to-back Stanley Cups for Darnell Richmond. Can we make it 3 in a row here? Very likely, it's the Dallas Stars. All right, so Darnell Richmond, we're guaranteed a Stanley Cup here. I don't care what the line chemistry boosts are. I don't care this team doesn't look great right now. There is one thing that is going to make the difference. It's our head coach. Now, normally I don't get gassed about head coach, but you know what? This guy's a bit different. He might not have a great line fit, but do you know what his name is? Clint Richmond. We have Richmond with Richmond. Yeah, we're going 82-0. I don't even think we're going to make a trade here. We are not going to make a trade with the Dallas Stars. Clint Richmond with Darnell Richmond. We're destined for success right off the bat. All right, so after making no trades with the Dallas Stars, second in the entire league with a 52-28-2 record, who needs line chemistry when you have Darnell Richmond and you have Clint Richmond, 2 of the greatest of all time. These guys are perfect together. Darnell Richmond, 114, Jason Robinson, 96, Joe Pavelski, 79 points. We got to get Joe Pavelski a Stanley Cup here, and the Otter, keep on doing you. These are actually phenomenal numbers. Keep on doing you, man. I got to gas you up a bit more. You're incredible right now. But unfortunately, our success ends here. We got the St. Louis Blues in the first round. We already know we're going to lose. Yeah, so you remember how I said the St. Louis Blues were going to beat us? They actually did beat us. They took us down in 5 games. They dominated us the entire way. Robert Thomas is just too good, I guess. Okay, I do not want to see Darnell Richmond's numbers. Bro was under a point a game. Yeah, let's move on from this. How did we get bounced in the first round, but how was Darnell Richmond under a point a game? Ain't no way. So what an absolute disaster that was. We got to move on here. The Dallas Stars really got bounced in the first round. Like, that really happened to us. Darnell Richmond and Clint Richmond just weren't enough. And that doesn't really make sense. We have the greatest player of all time and the greatest coach of all time. It should be able to work. So when it comes to the Seattle Kraken, there's only one untouchable player here, Andre Burakovsky. If I have to trade Darnell Richmond, I will. But Burakovsky, you're the most valuable player to this team. The defense is incredible. We actually might not touch this whatsoever. +2, +3, +1. With these types of line chemistry boosts, this team's going to see success. I'm not too worried. We will upgrade the goaltending, though. So it looks like we're upgrading the goaltending here and the bottom 6. So if we can pull off a deal with the St. Louis Blues, it's going to mean a lot for us. This team took Darnell Richmond out of the postseason, so he's going to take players off their team. Jake Neighbors, Buchnevich, Sundqvist, welcome to the Seattle Kraken. You're going to help win us the Stanley Cup. So Oliver Bjorkstrand, you played some great years in Columbus. Now I'm sending you back to Columbus. Boone Jenner and Corrali, you're both going to be joining the team here. You're going to help us win a Stanley Cup. That's the second move we're making. Now all we have to do is get a better goaltender. All right, so we're going to try something that I've never done before. Trading for Sergei Bobrovsky. Like, this is a big contract, $10 million. But you know what? He's a great goaltender, 87 overall. Bobrovsky and Luostarinen, welcome to the team here. So man, does this team look good now. Darnell Richmond, Burakovsky, Buchnevich, Jordan Eberle, Matty Beniers, Jared McCann. Look at the bottom 6 here. We're fantastic. I didn't touch the defense. We already know that's elite. But when it comes to the goaltending, Sergei Bobrovsky, be the difference maker for us. So Andre Burakovsky, I was expecting you to carry this team to absolute greatness. 9th in the entire league is not greatness. Now granted, Darnell Richmond was on this team. He was pretty good, but Andre Burakovsky, 8 goals. 8 goals from Andre Burakovsky. He's picking up 15 in the postseason. I'm telling you that right now. Meanwhile, Bobrovsky, this ain't it. Alright, so Bobrovsky, you sucked in the regular season. Turn it up in the playoffs. I need playoff Bobrovsky here. Alright, Seattle, it's not looking good for you. We're down 3-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights. Are we going to spark a comeback? Absolutely not. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough look for this team. We were just not looking good this entire postseason run. With Snavich, you had 5 assists. I'm only assuming Darnell Richmond had 5 goals. Anything less than that, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. Bro had 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points. 99 overall, by the way. Meanwhile, the Bobber didn't really do anything. Alright, we got to bounce back from that. It's been back-to-back first-round exits for Darnell Richmond. We can't have that happen every single year. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were a playoff team, so we're only allowed 1 trade, but half the time this team doesn't look like a playoff team. So we all know who's on the Leafs team. A bunch of guys that don't perform when it matters in the playoffs. Defensively, we definitely have to improve this. I mean, overall-wise, it's not bad, but in real life, this is not a good defense here. Goaltending, definitely questionable. So Toronto's so incredibly cap tight here, doesn't make any sense, but we can make one move. It's going to be Samsonov, a 4th and 2 5th-round picks over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're getting Tristan Jarry to be our goaltender. He's an 86 overall. He's an upgrade from Samsonov. But yeah, this is really the only move we can do here. Is it going to be enough for us to win a Stanley Cup? Probably not. But then again, we did just add Darnell Richmond to the team. So I mean, I feel like we should be able to win. So this was the lone change we made to the team. Tristan Jarry, you're the #1 goaltender here. Lead us to greatness. Also known as basically making it to the second round and winning more than 1 game. That's considered greatness for this franchise. The Toronto Maple Leafs are first in the entire league here, and the reason for that, this team scores a lot of goals. Like, we are very reliant on our goal scoring, which isn't much of a surprise. Darnell Richmond, 73 goals here, 54 assists, 127. Marner's got 111 here. William Nylander, 107. Austin Matthews, I know you're playing second line minutes, and you didn't have Marner and William Nylander at your side, but even still, 29 goals. Bro, what were you doing out there? You suck this season. Tristan Jarry, on the other hand, you were absolutely elite. But you know what? We're still going to find a way to win here because we have Darnell Richmond on the team. But then again, Darnell, you're on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm expecting a first-round exit. Now, all I can say is Darnell Richmond is the greatest player of all time. We did the impossible. We swept a team with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. That's the impossible right there. We still have to win 1 game in the second round, though. If we don't win a game in the second round, this means nothing. So we got through the first round here, but now we have the Tampa Bay Lightning up next. This is when things get serious. So we got the series tied at 2 games apiece here. We won the first 2, but Tampa's winning the next 3. So we're actually down 3-2 in this series. Can we respond? We did win 2 games in the second round. Make that 3 games. We're off to game 7. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are in game 7. I can almost guarantee this team's not going to show up. But you know what? Darnell Richmond's on the team now. Is he going to be able to save us? He basically has to. This man needs to pick up a hat trick here in order for us to win. Okay, he did that. Actually, no, he didn't. He didn't pick up a hat trick here, but we did win 7-4. Shout out to Darnell Richmond, though. He held his end of the bargain up. So this Toronto Maple Leafs team is just built different now. Darnell Richmond has single-handedly turned the franchise around, and all we need to do is win 8 more games, but it's got to start off against the New York Rangers. So we've been exchanging games so far with the New York Rangers. What's going to be happening in game number 5 here? We're taking that one. Can we close this series out and make it to the Stanley Cup final? We need game 7 first. Last time we were in game 7, Darnell Richmond had a great game. Can he do it once again here? So we're not playing defense whatsoever, but neither are the Rangers. It's 4-4 right now. The third period is going to decide this one, and it looks like we actually need overtime here. Darnell Richmond, show up when it matters most. That is a tough one. That's a tough one right there. Max Pacioretty picking up the OT winner, and Darnell Richmond falls in the conference finals yet again. 14 goals, 9 assists, 23 points. He did everything he could. I just needed a goal in game 7, and you couldn't provide that. But if we're being completely honest here, making it to the conference finals with the Toronto Maple Leafs is the equivalent of a Stanley Cup. This team doesn't see success ever. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they saw a lot of success, but they're not really seeing it anymore. We got to rebuild this team. We got 3 trades to do so. So when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, this actually might be one of our tougher rebuilds, seeing as this team basically has no assets. They've traded a lot of their picks away. They've traded a lot of prospects away. We don't have too much to work with. However, we do have Sidney Crosby, Malkin, and of course Darnell Richmond. And then when it comes to the defensive core here, you got Erik Karlsson, we got Chris Letang. We also have Tristan Jarry. He looked pretty good with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's see what he can do with the Pittsburgh Penguins now. Alright, so the plan was really just to work on the forward core here, but then a trade like this actually makes a lot of sense. We bring in Sean Durzi and Bukestad. Sean Durzi is going to play some #1 pairing minutes for us. Bukestad is going to be a good bottom 6 piece for us. This trade makes a lot of sense, so we're going to do it. Then again, I'm not going to make a trade with the thought process of, oh, this trade makes absolutely no sense, therefore I'm still going to do it. Every single trade I'm making because I think it makes sense. Stick on the ice is just yapping, but you get the point. All right, so we're praying for a miracle here. Can we get Nichushkin and can we get Sean Walker? Both these guys would help this team a ton. Yeah, we were just kind of hoping for the best in that situation. I didn't think we were going to be able to get both players. We're probably going to bring Nichushkin, but I do want to bring a defenseman in this deal as well. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I don't care what the overall for the defenseman is. I'll even take this 78 overall because you know what? He'd be better than what we have right now. I think we have a 73 overall. So is this deal going to get accepted? Yes, it is. That's going to help the team a lot here, but we're still a long ways away from winning a Stanley Cup, and we only can make one more move. All right, so this is going to be the final trade. Not really too sure how much it's going to be helping us. We are getting the defense a bit better here. Matt Dumba, he has a good enough fit, but we are going to be losing Jeff Carter for the bottom 6. It's a risky move, but it has to be done. Why did I give up as much as I did? I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I was trying to use that first round pick for a better package, and I just forgot to take the first round pick out. Just ignore what I gave up there. We're not going to talk about it. All right, so our lines still look pretty solid here. +3 on the top, +2, +1. We have Darnell Richmond, Sidney Crosby, Nichushkin. Like, we're looking great here. When it comes to the defense, this is in a much better spot. Sean Durzi, Erik Karlsson, Chris Letang, Peterson, Joseph, Matt Dumba, and the goaltending. You know what, Tristan Jarry, you look good with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and if you can look good with that team, you can look good with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I got no doubt about it. So the Pittsburgh Penguins are back, one of the most deadly teams in the entire league. First here with a 51, 26, and 5 record. The offense wasn't as good as I was hoping for, but the defense 2.8 allowed, I can definitely take that. Especially when you got a guy like Darnell Richmond on the team, 118 points here, 71 goals, Sidney Crosby 107 points. Things are looking fantastic. But Nichushkin, I was expecting more from you. I thought you would have more than 71 points, considering you're playing with these two legends right here. You know who else is a legend? Tristan Jarry, 36 wins, 1 shutout, a 906 and a 284. Keep doing your thing, and I want to go on another deep postseason run with you. And that postseason run has to start right here. We're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Alright, so we've split the series so far with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to be completely honest. We're not losing to the Toronto Maple Leafs here. We're shutting them out in game number 5. We're going to do the exact same thing in game number 6 here. It wasn't a shutout, but we did pick up 8 goals. Now, of course, we all knew we were getting by the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. It's the Maple Leafs in the first round. Nobody loses to them there. So we moved on to the second round, and things are about to get real. We got the Carolina Hurricanes up next. So as expected, the Carolina Hurricanes are putting up a bigger fight here. Game number 5 is going to be a deciding one here. We're going to be taking that one 5-1, and can we close this series out in 6 games? Yes, we can. We moved on to the conference finals. We got the Buffalo Sabres. Now we're in the conference finals. Darnell, I need you to show up here. I need some big Darnell Richmond performances. We split the series with Buffalo. Can we win game number 5 here? We got to take that one. Yes, we are. Close it out in game 6 and make the Stanley Cup final with the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's exactly what we're doing. So we've reached the Stanley Cup final with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I'm absolutely terrified of our matchup, the Winnipeg Jets. This team might have got absolutely smoked in real life, but this is NHL 24, and this team is goated when it comes to the simulation. So all we have to do is win 4 games. Honestly, it really shouldn't be that difficult. We lost the first 2, but luckily we're going to be winning 2 straight after that. Can we make it 3 straight? Yes, we can. Let's make it 4 straight, and let's bring that trend back here. That's exactly what we're doing. 4 straight after dropping the first 2. We're Stanley Cup champions. Sidney Crosby, you got another one. Malkin got another one. Erik Karlsson, he's getting his first, but Darnell Richmond, he's getting his 4th. But there was a massive surprise during this postseason run. Leading the way, Sidney Crosby, not Darnell Richmond, 30 points, 12 goals, 18 assists. Richmond was looking fantastic too, but the fact that he got outscored by Sidney Crosby, that just shows you how elite Crosby still is. And when it comes to the goaltending, Tristan Jarry, you were able to win a Stanley Cup with the team, 16 wins, 1 shutout, a 913, a 278. Not the greatest numbers in the world, but you know what? If you're hoisting a Stanley Cup, that's all that matters. So Darnell Richmond's got a bit of momentum here. He just won another Stanley Cup. It's time for him to get another. We're rebuilding the Tampa Bay Lightning. Not too much has to be done with this team, especially with Darnell Richmond joining the core. So as we know, the Tampa Bay Lightning is pretty loaded with top-end talent. Darnell Richmond, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point. The forward core is looking incredible here. You can't forget about Brandon Hagel. When it comes to the defense, Victor Hedman, Sergachev. You got Eric Chernak here as well. It's a pretty solid defensive core, and you have a great goaltender in Andrei Vasilevsky. This team has all the makings to be a Stanley Cup champion, but we are going to make one upgrade here. I think it's going to be to the bottom 6 or that third pairing defense, because this could look a bit better. So this is the deal that we're cooking up with the Tampa Bay Lightning, the one and only trade we're making. Perbix Shirage, not in a 7th round pick, sent over to the Washington Capitals. We're bringing in Nick Dow to play some bottom 6 minutes, and we're also going to bring in Faravari, and he's going to play some second pairing minutes for us. So with that trade that we made, we're getting a +1 boost now on the 3rd and 4th line, and then when it comes to the defense, we're getting a +1 boost on the 2nd pairing and a +2 boost on the 3rd pairing by moving Calvin DeHaan down. So Tampa was a pretty solid team this season, 6th in the entire league with a 48-15-4 record, but every single season that Darnell Richmond plays, I want the team being a 50-win team, so I am going to consider this an L. So I'm definitely going to be considering this a disappointing season. And Richmond, what were you up to this season? You had 112 26 points, but only 60 of those points were goals. You did have 66 assists here, so I think that might be a career high for you. Nikita Kucherov, he's picking up 50 goals, 64 helpers, 114 points. Offensively, we were a very good team. However, defensively, we clearly weren't. Look at these numbers from Andre Vasilevsky. That's just not it. But you know what? I really don't care what your numbers are like during the regular season. If you can step up here, and I know Vasilevsky's a postseason performer, we got the Buffalo Sabres in the first round. Now, the Buffalo Sabres have been pretty competitive with us so far. We split the series with them. Game 5 is going to be a big one. Who's going to be taking this one, taking the lead in the series? It looks like it's going to be the Buffalo Sabres. Right now, things are not looking good for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and things are getting worse. We're out in 6 games. Definitely not what I was hoping for, considering Darnell Richmond won us down the cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Okay, so clearly it was a glitch in the simulation because Toronto's winning the Stanley Cup. We all know that wouldn't happen. And when it comes to Darnell Richmond, I'm going to pretend that I didn't see these numbers right here. Let's spin the wheel. This is not it. Like, bro was really under a point a game there. 99 in every single attribute category, and he's below a point a game. Now, the team that just eliminated us in the Buffalo Sabres, that's where Darnell Richmond's headed next. Now, when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres, they have a lot of great pieces on this team, and honestly, they should actually be better than what they are. Tage Thompson, Jeff Skinner, JJ Peterka, Alex Tuck, Dylan Cousins, and in the previous draft, you picked up Zach Benson, so he's going to be a great piece for your team. When it comes to the defense, Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, Bo Byram, they're the future of this team. The goaltending is a bit questionable. Devin Levi and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen have shown signs they can be the guy, but so far it hasn't worked out for them. So when it comes to our first deal, it's going to involve Jeff Skinner and a couple prospects here. Over to the Minnesota Wild, we're bringing in Matt Zuccarello, Gaudreau, and Hartman. Hartman and Gaudreau are going to be great for the bottom 6 here. Zuccarello, I'm hoping can play some top line minutes for us. Ideally, he's playing on the first line, but I have a feeling more than likely he's going to be fitting on the second line. They're going to be saying no to this first deal. But if I include a second rounder, is that going to be enough? Just like that, we got the deal done. Probably could have just given up a third round pick in this deal, but you know what? We got the guys we want, and that's really all that matters. Now, the Buffalo Sabres have a lot of draft picks, and they also have a lot of good prospects we can work with. So I'm going to package up all of these guys and send it over to the Calgary Flames. Rasmus Sanderson, you're going to be a top pairing player for us. And Kuzmenko, the plan is for you to play some second line minutes for us. Hopefully, this is going to be enough to get the deal done. That was actually easier than I thought. Now, if we can pull off this final deal, that would be huge for us. Zach Benson, Jack Quinn, and Bryson, along with 2 first-round picks over to the Dallas Stars. We're going to pick up Wyatt Johnson for the bottom 6. Matt Duchene's probably going to play some second-line minutes, and Joe Pavelski, he's also going to be on the third line there. We're going to have a really good bottom 6, and we actually have a really good forward core here. I think that this Buffalo Sabres team definitely can win a Stanley Cup. We have all the right pieces here. The big-time players just need to show up when it matters most. So after all the moves we made, we're getting a +5 boost on the first line, a +2 on the second. Although we're not seeing any line chemistry boosts on the third and fourth line, I think we're in a good spot just because we got some big-time players there. When it comes to the defense, it's looking fantastic. +4, +1, +2. This team has no weaknesses. The only weakness we might have in between the pipes, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Can you succeed with this team in front of you? I'm going to be completely honest. I'm pretty sure Eric Comrie could succeed with this team in front of him, so I think we're going to be all right. So the Buffalo Sabres were a 50-win team this season, 51, 26, and 5 to be exact. The offense was looking really good, one of the best in the entire league at 3.74 goals per game, while the defense one of the best as well. I was a bit concerned with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in between the pipes, but you know what? If we got the 3rd best defense in the entire league, what do I have to worry about? However, with our offense being as good as it was, I was expecting a bit more from Darnell Richmond. Only 109 points here and 60 goals. I know you can do better than that. I've seen you do better than that. Meanwhile, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen have numbers like this in the postseason and will definitely be bringing home a Stanley Cup. But that Stanley Cup run's got to start right here. We're taking on an original 6 team, the Detroit Red Wings. So it looks like the Detroit Red Wings are just no match for the Buffalo Sabres right now. Our offense is absolutely rolling, and unless the team can find a way to stop that offense, I don't think we're going to be losing. We're picking up another 4 goals in game number 5, and we're off to the second round. So the first round was a bit of a fluke, if you ask me. I think the Red Wings were complete frauds, considering what that team was at the beginning of the season, and they didn't make any significant moves. Not really too sure how they made the playoffs. But this next team's legit. It's the Florida Panthers. We all know what they're capable of. We all know who's on their team. We got to be prepared for a tough matchup. And just as I was expecting, the Florida Panthers, it looks like they're just too much for the Buffalo Sabres to handle. Unless we can make a massive comeback here, we're going to be falling in the second round. It looks like we're going to be dropping game 5, 5-4, and we're eliminated. Now, this is back-to-back early exits for Darnell Richmond. Like, we're not even making the conference finals right now. I can live with a conference finals loss, but I can't live with a first round loss, and I definitely can't live with a second round loss. The team around him has to be better. And I have to emphasize, the team around Darnell Richmond has to be better. This man had 10 goals in 10 games, 9 assists, 19 points in 10 games, and they still couldn't get out of the second round. There's not too much more he could have done. Everyone else around him him folded when it mattered most. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I need better numbers, and a 909 and 295 just aren't going to cut it once the postseason comes around. So if we want Darnell Richmond winning another Stanley Cup, what we really need to do is land on a playoff team here, and that's exactly what's happening. We got the Vancouver Canucks. They already have a great core here, but I'm going to make it better. So the Vancouver Canucks are one of the top teams in the NHL right now. Didn't think I would say those words after the past couple years, but you know what? This team has finally got it figured out, and you love to see it. Darnell Richmond, Elias Pettersson, Elias Lindholm, Brock Besser, JT Miller. When you look at the defensive core, you got Quinn Hughes, you have Hronek, and the most valuable player to this team, no question about it, Thatcher Demko. You take Thatcher Demko off the Vancouver Canucks, this team's not the same. With that being said, we're allowed to make one trade to make the Vancouver Canucks even better here, but I'm not too sure what we should really do. So I'm hoping that we could pull off a deal like this where we acquire Sean Walker, Josh Manson, Miles Wood, and Logan O'Connor from the Colorado Avalanche. We're giving up a first round pick, Tyler Myers, Ian Cole, Vecker Mackey, and Atu Ratu. I don't think we're going to be able to get this done. Okay, never mind. Yes, we are. I didn't think we were offering enough trade value over to the Colorado Avalanche, but now that we've got that deal done, we're definitely the Stanley Cup favorite. Now, the addition of Miles Wood and Logan O'Connor is helping a ton here. A +2 boost on the third line and a +1 on the fourth. When it comes to the defense, Josh Manson is going to have a great fit with Zadorov, and then Sean Walker, he's got a great fit on that third pairing, which is going to lead to a +1 boost. The Vancouver Canucks are already a great team, but with the additions that we made, we're certainly in a better spot. Now, the Vancouver Canucks are going to finish as a 50-win team led by Darnell Richmond, a 50-27-5 record. The offense is pretty similar to what the Buffalo Sabres put up, but the defense is certainly worse on this team. So it's probably a good idea that we brought Josh Manson and Sean Walker onto the team, because if we didn't get those two upgrades, we might not be making the playoffs here. Richmond only 100 points, tied with Elias Pettersson. The fact that Darnell Richmond's tied with somebody for points makes absolutely no sense. Elias Pettersson, yeah, you're a great player, got nothing against you, but Darnell Richmond, you're perfect. Like, literally, you are perfect. There's no reason you shouldn't pick up 150 points every year. When it comes to the goaltending numbers, Thatcher Demko, I said you were the MVP of this team. These are MVP numbers. I need better in the postseason. Like, no cap, I really hyped this man up, saying he's the MVP of the Vancouver Canucks, and then proceeded to post a goals against of 3. Like, what are you doing out there? Our first round matchup's going to be a tough one. We got the Winnipeg Jets to take on. We all know who's on the Winnipeg Jets. This is definitely not going to be easy for us in the slightest. Okay, we're not doing this again. We're down 3-1 against the Winnipeg Jets. Darnell Richmond can't be losing in the first round again. Okay, let's spin that wheel. Like, I'm not wasting any time here. Sam Lafferty just led the Vancouver Canucks in points. You heard that right. Sam Lafferty. And you know how many points he had? 4 points in 5 games. That means Darnell Richmond was worse than that. Darnell Richmond, a 99 overall. Perfect in every single aspect of the game. Got outscored by Sam Lafferty. That happened. Okay, so it turns out that Sam Lafferty wasn't the only player that outscored Darnell Richmond. Susie did as well. And Mikheyev, and Wood, and Hronek, and Brock Besser, Josh Manson, Connor Garland, Elias Pettersson all outscored Darnell Richmond. How many points did Darnell Richmond pick up? He picked up 1 point in 5 games. Perfect, by the way. Here's his stats. 1 point in 5 games. I don't even know what he was doing out there. Okay, now if this team doesn't win a Stanley Cup, then it's completely rigged. Darnell Richmond's here, Carter Verhaeghe's here, Sam Reinhart's here, Barkov's here, Tarasenko's here, Matthew Tkachuk is here. You thought the forward core was good? Look at the defense. Forsling, Montour, Ekblad, and then we have a great goaltender in Sergei Bobrovsky. This team is nearly perfect, but I am going to make it a bit better. So if we can pull off a trade like this, it would be great for our defense and our bottom 6. We're acquiring Jake Wallman, Daniel Sprong at 50% retained, and Rasmussen. If we get all 3 of these guys, we're definitely going to be winning a Stanley Cup. They're saying no here. So I guess the real question is, do we want Daniel Sprong or do we want Rasmussen? I mean, Rasmussen is guaranteed to fit on the third line here, and I think I'd rather pick up him. So Daniel Sprong, we're not going to be acquiring you here, but we are going to be getting Rasmussen and Jake Wallman. So after that trade, nothing's really happening with the team. Rasmussen's going to play some fourth line minutes. Jake Wallman's going to play some second pairing minutes. That's about it. Now, I knew the Florida Panthers were going to be a great team, but we were borderline record breaking. 62, 12, and 8, 4 goals per game, and the defense 2.5. So we were scoring over 1.5 more goals per game than we were allowing. Yeah, this team's good. And with us scoring that much, Darnell Richmond, you had a great season. 70 goals, 51 helpers, 121 points. Reinhardt's picking up 114. Matthew Tkachuk 89. Vladimir Tarasenko 84. We can always rely on him. And when it comes to the goaltending numbers, Sergei Bobrovsky, you must have been phenomenal. And yes, you were. 51 wins, 3 shots, and 918 to 244. But all we have to do is win a Stanley Cup. We have been upset in the first round way too often in the past couple simulations. Darnell Richmond, it's time for you to lead this team to greatness and get them their first Stanley Cup, and I believe it would be your 5th. Now, when push came to shove, I guess Darnell Richmond and the Florida Panthers are just too good, sweeping the Montreal Canadiens. So we can start looking towards our conference finals matchup. Are we going to take on the Boston Bruins? More than likely. I think they're going to take down the New Jersey Devils. We're not even going to discuss who we're taking on in the second round. So the Toronto Maple Leafs got lucky in one game and they're able to steal one away, but it doesn't really matter too much. We're going to take them down to 5-game series. We're going to make it quick. Okay, we're we're dropping game 5 by allowing 5 goals. Well, that's not going to happen again game number 6. We're going to take that one 4-1. So as I predicted, the Boston Bruins are making it to the conference final, and that's who we're going to be taking on. Meanwhile, over in the Western Conference, we got a great matchup. The Dallas Stars taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. So the Bruins had us a bit nervous after the first 2 games, but you already know what happens around here. If you lose the first 2 games, you're going to be winning 2 straight after that, and we're going to make that 3 straight here with a victory there. And then in game number 6, we're going to close this series out and move on to the Stanley Cup final. But I guess that's not quite what's going to happen here. We are going to need game 7 first. Now, Darnell Richmond's been pretty quiet in the postseason so far, so we need a massive game from him. When's he going to be showing up in this one? Well, he better show up in the 3rd period. We're currently down 4-3. We need a massive 3rd period. Patty Maroon's going to be ending it here. This man picked up 2 goals in an elimination game. No, but real talk, Darnell Richmond, you were an absolute ghost during that postseason run. Yeah, you had 12 goals in 17 games. These are great numbers, no issue with that. However, you only had 1 assist, 13 points in 17 games. You should be a point a game. Like, that's the bare minimum from you. You should probably be averaging about 1.5 points per game if we're being completely honest. But you know what? When push came to shove, you couldn't step up with the Florida Panthers, and this is definitely a team we should have been winning with. Bobrovsky at 906 and a 291. I'm not going to put the blame on you. I mean, I probably should a bit because we did have the best offense and the best defense, and these are definitely not the best goaltending numbers. A massive step back from what you did in the regular season. So we definitely should have won a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers, no doubt about it. One of the best teams in the NHL. Darnell Richmond's on a bit of a cold streak right now. Like, we won a handful of Stanley Cups in a row. I think we won 2 in a row. Took a couple seasons off, then won another one. But these last 3 seasons definitely haven't gone Richmond's way, but we're hoping to change that pretty quick. And it better change with this next wheel spin here. We gotta get another elite team. But I mean, at the end of the day, we do have to rebuild every team. We're off to the Philadelphia Flyers. This could potentially be a tough one. So we've moved on to the Philadelphia Flyers. We got 3 trades to save this team, and it's honestly going to be a tough task. Although they got some decent young pieces here. Owen Tippett's only 24 years old. Morgan Frost, he's 24. But we really don't have any superstar players outside Darnell Richmond. When it comes to the defense, it's looking pretty weak here. Jamie Drysdale, Sanheim, the top guys. And when it comes to the goaltending situation for this team, here's our current starting goaltender. Probably going to trade him away though. Alright, so I'm looking at pulling off a trade like this. It's going to be Carter Hart, Rasmus Ristolainen, because then we can get rid of his contract, 2 prospects and a 2nd round pick over to the Ottawa Senators. We bring in Claude Giroux, Ridley Gregg, Brandstrom, and then a backup goaltender that we're just bringing onto the team just to make the rosters work. I think this trade package is going to be enough. They're saying no just because they won't have enough money to re-sign people. What if I give you Florida's 1st round pick instead? Will that change your mind? I guess it will. In deal number 2, we're having to give up a lot of assets here. 2 1st round picks along with a couple prospects and Cam Atkinson over to the Nashville Predators, but we are going to get UC Saros, Fabro, and Evangelista. Evangelista and Fabro, they're going to play key pieces on this team, and of course UC Saros, he's going to be the starting goaltender. They're saying no to this deal, but what if I take out that Colorado 1st round pick and I make it Philly's 1st round pick instead? Philly's pick has a lot more value than Colorado's, and when I send that package over, we're going to be able to get this deal done. Now, I understand I've traded for Sean Durzi a lot in this video, but the one thing you have to understand about Sean Durzi, he's one of the easiest players to trade for in this game. 86 overall defenseman who has medium top 4 potential. His trade value is incredibly low for what it should be. He always turns out to be a good player. He's on a 1-year deal at $2.1 million. His contract is very easy to fit on every single team. So we're going to do Eric Johnson and 2 2nd round picks for Sean Durzi. That's the final move we're going to be making with the Philadelphia Flyers. So after making the moves we did, the team's looking a lot better just based on line chemistry. +4 and +3 on the top 6 right here. The defense is looking a lot better. I think we fixed a lot of the problems that we had. And then when it comes to goaltending, we definitely got an upgrade there. We got UC Saros, and he's going to be holding it down for the meantime. So the Philadelphia Flyers are looking good. I don't know how I did that, but first in the entire league. I really just turned the Philadelphia Flyers into the best team in the league. That makes no sense, especially since Darnell Richmond only had 114 points here, 69 goals, 45 assists. Yeah, there's no reason this team should have been as good as it was. Travis Konecny, 103 points. Claude Giroux, 82 points. Okay, maybe this team was actually legit. UC Saros, you had pretty solid numbers, but no, in all seriousness, how did the Philadelphia Flyers finish first in the entire league here? I want to say that we're the underdog in every one of these matchups. I don't care that we're technically the favorite. We're the Philadelphia Flyers. We should not be here. Now, I guess the real question is, am I surprised at the outcome right now? We're down 3-1 in the series? Not really. We're eliminated in the 1st round. Yes, we were the best team in the entire league, but we were the Philadelphia Flyers. I feel like that's the reason that we lost here. Like, granted, I built a really good team. We won 50+ games. This shouldn't happen, but I just feel like we're the Philadelphia Flyers. Like, we have too much of the original core here. That's why we're not seeing as much success as we probably should be. Now, the thing is, with a postseason loss like this, I can't really complain with what Darnell Richmond did because he actually performed unlike the last time we lost in the 1st round. Bro picked up 4 goals in 5 games, had 5 points in 5 games. He even had a game-winning goal. I can't expect much more than this. The rest of the team just has to perform. Richmond can't be picking up 2 goals a game. I mean, he should be, but I don't think he actually can. So it's another disappointing 1st round exit, and this is the last time we're losing in the first round, things are about to change here. We have the Detroit Red Wings. This is going to be so incredibly easy. They have so many amazing assets to work with. They got draft picks. This is going to be a lot easier than most of you expect. Now, the Detroit Red Wings have a top 6 that we might actually be able to win with. Darnell Richmond, Patrick Kane, Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, JT Compher, and Alex DeBrincat. We're probably going to replace JT Compher. Then again, he does have a perfect line fit here, so that's going to be a tough decision to make. We're definitely going to upgrade the bottom 6 a little bit here, but I think a majority of our trades are going to be upgrading the defense and the goaltending. Jake Wallman, I want you playing second pairing minutes in the future, so that means we need a new number 1 left defenseman. And when it comes to goaltending, Ville Husso, you're not going to be able to be the guy for us, so we are going to get an upgrade there. So let's first try a deal like this. Ville Husso, Evanson, Gostisbehere, a first round pick for Allmark and Frederick, along with a 3rd and 5th round pick. I'm pretty sure we're going to get this deal done. Yeah, that was really easy. Now it's time to make another deal with the Boston Bruins. So as I said, we're making multiple moves with the Boston Bruins, and now it's going to be Olli Määttä, a 2nd, a 1st, and a 3rd over to the Bruins, and we're going to be picking up Hampus Lindholm here. Unfortunately, they are saying no to this deal, but you know what? We have multiple draft picks we can work with. You want a 2nd rounder as well? There you go. This is more than enough for Hampus Lindholm. They're saying no here, but you know what? Let's throw prospects in the deal instead. I know for a fact Detroit has a handful of prospects they can work with, so we're throwing Marco Kasper in this deal as well as the 1st round pick, and I feel like this is going to be more than enough to get Hampus Lindholm. They're saying no here, but guess what? We got 2nd round picks, so here's a 2nd rounder for the year 2024, and that's going to be more than enough to get Hampus Lindholm. So I think our forward core is going to be good enough to win a Stanley Cup, but we got to be able to play good defense, and Adam Larsson, you're going to be the difference maker here. It's going to be Pellikka and Justin Hall. Are we giving up way more than we have to? Absolutely. But you know what? We have to include Justin Hall in this deal just so we can make the contracts work. Ideally, we just do Pellikka straight up for Adam Larsson, even though that would be a bad deal for us. You know what? We got to get the guy we need in order to win a Stanley Cup for this one season. So this is what the team's going to be looking like. We have a great first line, and I can guarantee these guys are going to be leading the way for us. The second line's pretty good too, so you can't sleep on that. When it comes to the defense, it's in a much better spot. We got Hampus Lindholm, Jake Wallman, Adam Larsson. We got some nice additions to the team here. I mean, Jake Wallman was already here, but you know who wasn't here? Linus Ullmark. He's the new number 1 goaltender for the Detroit Red Wings. That's going to be the big time difference for us. And you know what? I'm actually going to make a prediction here because I actually think this makes a lot of sense. Somehow over the offseason, Stevie Y is going to make a big splash and he's going to get the Detroit Red Wings goaltender. And who's that goalie going to be? Linus Ullmark. Like, it actually makes sense. Detroit has enough assets they could trade away in order to get Linus Ullmark. He would be a great goaltender for them. He would solve the goaltending problems. Linus Ullmark actually makes a lot of sense for the Red Wings. I mean, granted, you still have to fix the defense in front of Linus Ullmark, but Linus Ullmark would definitely be an upgrade from what they have right now. So the only concern I had with the Detroit Red Wings right here was our offense wouldn't be good enough. We had the best offense in the entire league. The one thing I wasn't concerned about was our defense, and that wasn't that good this season. So yeah, I was just completely off on my predictions. Like, I really thought we were going to be a weak offensive team and great defensively. Yeah, it turned out to be the exact opposite. Darnell Richmond, only 58 goals here. What a disappointment you are. 58 goals for Darnell Richmond. Linus Ullmark, maybe you shouldn't come to Detroit. So Detroit, do not trade for Linus Ullmark. It's not going to work out for you. But you know what? You will get to the second round with him because we're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Nobody loses to them there. I am going to continue to make as many Toronto Maple Leaf playoff jokes as I can until this team proves me wrong. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander have been there for what, 8 years now? You've made it to the second round once, and you've won one game there. I can make those jokes. And then there's going to be some people like, oh, stick on the ice. The St. Louis Blues don't even make the playoffs. You can't make fun of other teams. Yeah, well, over the past decade, we've won one Stanley Cup. So yeah, I can say what I want. And speaking of winning games, it looks like that's exactly what the Detroit Red Wings are doing because the Toronto Maple Leafs do not know how to play defense here. We blew them out in 2 games. We scored 8 here, we scored 7 here, and in game number 5 when it mattered most, we're winning in overtime. Now we've reached the second round and we're going to have a great rivalry matchup here. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Detroit Red Wings. It's Stevie Y versus the current GM for the Tampa Bay Lightning, whose name I cannot think of at this exact moment. So similar to the series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Detroit's actually dominating from start to finish here, and as long as we can close it out in game number 5, this team's going to be looking good. 8-2 in the postseason. We're not looking to slow down anytime soon. Now, it's been a handful of years since Darnell Richmond's made to this point in the playoffs, the conference finals, but this is by far our toughest task yet, the New York Rangers. But if we can beat the New York Rangers, then we'll take on the Arizona Coyotes in the Stanley Cup final, because somehow that team's made to the conference finals so far. So I had very high expectations for the Detroit Red Wings. My expectations were certainly not this. We're getting swept in the conference finals here, not even taking a single game. Yeah, that's tough. That's real tough. Okay, how did Arizona make it to the Stanley Cup final and somehow we got swept in the conference finals? Like, Arizona won more games against the Rangers than we did. That doesn't sit right with me. And on top of that, what was Darnell Richmond up to in the postseason? Well, he had 19 points in 14 games, 11 goals, 8 assists. Normally, I would be happy with this. And then I realized he was -1. But he was over a point a game and still had a negative plus-minus. How does that work? Meanwhile, Linus Ullmark, the fact that we made it to the conference finals with these numbers, how does that work? Yeah, so the worst take that Stick on the Ice has ever had is Linus Ullmark to the Detroit Red Wings. That definitely did not work out for this team. But you know what? We're headed over to the Boston Bruins, so Linus Ullmark, we're about to see you again. So we're all well aware of what the Boston Bruins are capable of doing. They look good in game number 1 against the Florida Panthers. I'm not going to talk about game 2. They did not look good there. But you know what? This is actually a very well-constructed team. David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle. JVR's looked incredible in the playoffs. The stats might not show it, but this guy's been absolutely elite. Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, Brandon Carlo, and then when it comes to the goaltending, that's where this team's a step above the rest. Linus Ullmark, Jeremy Swayman. We're going to trade one of these guys away in order to upgrade the rest of our team. Because let's be fair, we don't need 2 goaltenders when the playoffs come around. Okay, so I'm cooking up the greatest deal of all time. A first rounder, Linus Ullmark, a third rounder, Lucic and Lysell over to the Anaheim Ducks. We're bringing in Mason McTavish and Troy Terry. This team's walking home with a Stanley Cup, no question about it. Linus Ullmark, you weren't able to win us the Stanley Cup with the last team, so I don't really have the most faith in you right now. Jeremy Swayman, I certainly have a lot of faith in you. You can be the guy for us. So that one trade might not seem like a lot, but Troy Terry's going to play some top 6 minutes for us. Mason McTavish is going to play some bottom 6 minutes. We really didn't have to give up too much. Yeah, we lost one of our goaltenders. And when it comes to the goaltending, of course, we can rely on Jeremy Swayman. And I'm so confident with Jeremy Swayman being our goaltender, we're running a 70 overall backup. So I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how this happened. Yeah, we're second in the entire league. Don't care about that. Brad Marchand just led the team in points. Brad Marchand had more points than Darnell Richmond. That really just happened. Out of all players to have more points than Darnell Richmond, Brad Marchand. Ain't no way that just happened. Jeremy Swayman, you had numbers. The backup wasn't awful, but Brad Marchand really did that. He had more points than a 99 overall player who has 99 in every single stat category. Out of all players we've seen in this video, Brad Marchand's been the only guy to do better than Darnell Richmond. It's impressive, that's all I gotta say. Also, we're taking on the Red Wings in the first round. Thought I'd mention that. So when I upgraded this Boston Bruins team, I thought we were going to smoke the Detroit Red Wings. Somehow we split the series with them. I don't even know how that's possible. What's going to be happening in game 5? It looks like a reality setting in here. So we just got to close this out in game 6 and move on to the second round. Now, you know, I did say win game 6, not lose it 4-3. So here we go. The Boston Bruins taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Zacha's picking up the first goal. Christian Fischer's going to be responding. The third period is going to decide this one. Never mind. Overtime is going to be deciding this one. Okay. That happened. Yeah, so I don't really know what happened there. The recording was lost. Something glitched. Yeah, we just have to move on to the Columbus Blue Jackets now. Don't know what to say about that one. Yeah, because we definitely didn't lose in overtime due to an Olli Mata goal. That definitely didn't happen. So one thing that's going to help the Columbus Blue Jackets a lot is they have a handful of guys here that have quite a bit of value. Ken Johnson has a lot of value for an 82 overall, and Fantilli's only an 83, but he's got a lot of trade value as well. When it comes to the defense, David Jiricek, he's got a ton of value as well. The goaltending, though, that has no value for this team. Elvis Merzlikins, you're a good enough starter in the NHL, but I'm not really too sure if we can win with you in between the pipes for us. So what this team really needs to upgrade here is absolutely everything. Like, we need to fix this entire core. So this is what I'm cooking up for trade number 1. Kent Johnson, a prospect, a second in Boquist, over to the St. Louis Blues. Buchnevich is going to be our number 1 line playmaker. Kevin Hayes and Jake Neighbors, they're going to play some big bottom 6 minutes for us, and that's going to help us win a Stanley Cup. So to finish off our forward core, we do need a 2-way forward, and Nichushkin's going to be that guy for us. He's going to play on the top line, then we're going to move Patrick Laine down to the second line. This deal makes a lot of sense, but you know what? I think we can get a second round pick back or something. Like, we should be able to get a couple draft picks back in exchange. So give me 2 4th rounders as well, and then we'll call this a deal. Yeah, this is definitely a smart move for us. So the final move I want to make before we make a push for a Stanley Cup here is acquiring Owen Power from the Buffalo Sabres. And I think this package right here should be enough in order to get him. So we've got Owen Power, and now it's time for Columbus to make a push for the postseason. So I made a very, very big mistake when building this team. I was so focused on the forward core here, which now looks incredible, and the defensive core that's looking a lot better with the acquisition of Owen Power. I forgot one thing. We don't really have a great goaltender. Merzlikins, you have to be the guy for us. I forgot not to trade for a goaltender. Yeah, stick on the ice is taking a massive L here, but Merzlikins, you just have to prove us wrong. Be the guy that we need in order to win a Stanley Cup. Now, all that Elvis Merzlikins disrespect is out the window now. Second in the entire league, a 51, 24, and 7 record. I really don't care what Darnell Richmond did this season. He was looking fantastic, 127 points here. None of this matters. Elvis Merzlikins, what were you up to? 42 wins, 4 shots, a 906 and a 295. I am sorry that I doubted you. You're him. You can win us a Stanley Cup. I believe in you. Then again, I've also believed in our last 5 goaltenders, and we saw how that went. So Merzlikins, I actually don't believe in you, and you need to prove me wrong. And the Columbus Blue Jackets just seem to be built different. But you know what, Merzlikins, you haven't proved me wrong yet. You still need to put up some better numbers than this. I need a goals against of 0 right now. You will allow us to advance to the second round, but I still don't believe in you. So although we've made it to the second round, I still can't believe in Merzlikins until you hoist that Stanley Cup for us. We got the Pittsburgh Penguins up next. I'm a bit surprised the Penguins made the playoffs, and I'm very surprised they beat the New York Rangers, so we actually better watch out for them. So it's a tight series with the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was tied at 2 games apiece, but we're going to be dropping game 5. Merzlikins, you can't be the guy. There is no way that you can win us a Stanley Cup. Okay, the reverse psychology did not work. That's what I was going for in these final couple games. We allowed 4 goals here, allowed 4 goals here, and we allowed 3 goals here. During this 3-game stretch, we only scored 2 goals ourselves. So maybe it wasn't actually Merzlikins and it was more the offense. I mean, granted, Merzlikins' numbers, they definitely aren't going to look good. Darnell Richmond, you had 10 goals in 12 games, but you only had 1 assist, so that's going to equal 11 points. 11 points is definitely not good enough. You need to be over a point a game. When it comes to the goaltending, I'm not even too sure if I want to look at these numbers. Merzlikins, yeah, plain and simple, we can't win with these. I was trying to use some reverse psychology on you. If I was saying you can't win us a Stanley Cup, then you would prove me wrong by winning one. Yeah, that didn't really work. We're out in the second round. Turns out I probably should have been more afraid of the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're winning the Stanley Cup, taking down the Minnesota Wild in a 7-game series. So Pittsburgh was no joke. So we're down to our final 5 NHL teams. Darnell Richmond, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup in a very long time. Winnipeg, you better help him win one. So the Winnipeg Jets are the next team that Darnell Richmond's joining here. And honestly, we got to get a Stanley Cup with this team. We have gone way too many teams without winning a Stanley Cup. This team's got a great forward core. They even have a great defensive core. I would like to improve the third pairing, and more than likely that's what we're going to do here. When it comes to overalls on this team, we're great across the board. Like a 93 overall goaltender. When you look at the offensive power on this team, like the lowest overalls are an 82. We can definitely live with that. The defense, the lowest overalls are an 81. They don't really perform in real life, but when it comes to overalls in this game, this is actually a pretty good team on paper. So this is the trade I'm looking at doing. Brandon Carlo from the Boston Bruins, you are now a Winnipeg Jet. So although we are rocking a 79 overall in our third pairing now, I think we're in a better spot, like 85, 85, 85, all 85s on the right side, and then we have Josh Morrissey and Brendan Dillon holding it down on the left. This team's in a pretty good spot already, so I don't think we really have to do too many moves. And to be fair, we're only allowed to do 1 move here, and this is the move we're making. So normally I'd be comfortable finishing first in the entire league. 56 wins is great here. You know what, the offense was great, the defense was great, everything about this team was great. And even Darnell Richmond, he's having a great bounce back season, 126 points, 74 goals, 52 assists, but none of this right here matters. None of these stats matter because of who we have to take on the first round, the St. Louis Blues. Last time Darnell Richmond took on the St. Louis Blues, he fell in the first round. That better not happen again today. Now, after dropping the first 2 games, Winnipeg's going to be responding, winning the next 2. Can we make this a 3-game winning streak? Yes, we can. We got to keep on lighting the lamp here, and we got to do that in game 6. Let's pick up 6 goals. You know what? I'll take a 4-3 victory. At least we're advancing to the second round. So we took down the greatest franchise of all time in the St. Louis Blues, so it's going to be smooth sailing all the way to the Stanley Cup final. We might go 12-0 to finish off the postseason. So unfortunately, we're not going to go 12-0 to finish out the postseason. We're just going to go 12-1. We're only losing 1 game against the Minnesota Wild. Okay, we're going to go 12-2 to finish out the postseason here. We're not going to blow a 3-1 series lead. Well, the plan's not to blow a 3-1 series lead. So here we go, game 7, and things aren't looking good for us. Winnipeg, wake up, score some goals here. We got to do something. That did not happen. Game 7, and we didn't score any goals. We got shut out. That is something. Blew a 3-1 series lead. Darnell Richmond, you had 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points. Can't complain about what you did. You were fantastic during this postseason run. What happened with this team? Like, who didn't perform here when it came to goaltending? Connor Hellebuyck, you didn't even have that bad numbers. The rest of this team just didn't show up when it mattered most. Darnell Richmond, nothing you can do about it. Alright, so there's 4 teams left here. We gotta win at least 2 Stanley Cups. The fact that we've seen this low success recently makes no sense to me. We're off to the Anaheim Ducks. Speaking of not having any success, that's where we're headed next. So we weren't able to win with a a great team like the Winnipeg Jets, so it would only make sense for us to see success with the Anaheim Ducks, because that makes so much sense. The defense on this team needs to be completely redone. The only guy that might stick around here is Cam Fowler. When it comes to the goaltending, John Gibson, can you be the guy? You're only an 84 overall, but you do have 2 X factors. Yeah, I'm not putting my faith in John Gibson. We got to improve this team big time. Now, this is going to be the first trade we're doing here, and it's going to be a massive one. Leo Carlson, Zellweger, Alex Killorn, a first and second round pick over to the Dallas Stars, Rupe Hintz, Thomas Harley, and Chris Tanev. These would be 3 huge upgrades for the team. Unfortunately, they're going to be saying no. I expected them to say no, but you know what? We got first round picks we can work with. Anaheim's first round pick has a ton of value. I'm going to offer that over. They're saying no. I think we're going to have to do 2 first round picks here. It's going to be Anaheim's first and Edmonton's first. Hopefully, this is enough to get the deal done. That's huge. We got 3 great players who are playing key pieces on our team, but that's the beginning of the trades. We have a couple more to make. Now, this is going to be the next trade we're doing. It's picks and prospects over to the LA Kings. We're bringing in Mikey Anderson, Matt Roy, and Quinton Byfield. 3 guys that can immediately jump into the lineup for us. And then we're going to cap it off with one final move. This one's going to be done with the St. Louis Blues. Kevin Hayes is going to be brought in. He's going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. Jake Neighbors, once again, he's going to be brought to the team to play some bottom 6 minutes. And you know who else is playing bottom 6 minutes? Oscar Sundqvist. These 3 guys have a great fit here, and they're going to be helping us a lot. So after making all the changes that we did, Mason McTavish is now on the second line alongside Rupe Hintz and Ryan Strome. When it comes to the third line, we're going to see Quinton Byfield and Kevin Hayes here. The fourth line is going to feature Oscar Sundqvist and Jake Neighbors. A +2 boost on the fourth and third line, a +3 on the second, a +4 on the top line. This team is definitely going to be making the playoffs, especially with these defensive pairings right here. The only thing I'm contemplating is moving Thomas Harley down to the third pairing, and then we don't get a -2 boost. I think that might be the move here. Does it make a lot more sense for him to play top pairing minutes? Absolutely, but I don't want that -2 line chemistry boost. When it comes to goaltending, John Gibson, I'm going to believe in you. I want you to prove me wrong that you can be the guy who win a Stanley Cup. It's been a rough couple years for you, but you're about to turn it around. Now, considering what this team looked like before I made any trades, I'll take 8th in the entire league, especially with a 46-29-7 record. The offense was absolutely flying, almost 4 goals per game. However, the defense definitely wasn't good enough. Now, I'm not sure if it was necessarily the defense or the fact that we had an 84 overall John Gibson in between the pipes. Darnell Richmond, another fantastic season. Offensively, this was a really good team. We had no problem scoring the puck. However, when it came to keeping the puck out of our own net, we definitely struggled there a little bit. However, things change when the postseason comes around. You get a hot goaltender, you can definitely go on a streak here. John Gibson, I need to see you return to your prime for this run. So this postseason run's going to be a lot shorter than I was expecting, unless we can win 4 straight games here. We were down 3-0 to start the postseason, and it looks like we actually might do that. Are we making a 3-0 series comeback? That'd be a great way to start the postseason run. So here we go, game 7. We were down 3-0 in the series, but now we're making the comeback. Darnell Richmond's picking up a couple goals here. We really did that. We really made a 3-0 series comeback to win the series. I'll take it. So after falling to a 3-0 deficit in the first round, the Anaheim Ducks are doing the impossible. They're making that massive comeback. I don't really care who we have to take on in the postseason from here on out. We just prove that we can compete with the best in the league. So it's a back and forth series with the Vancouver Canucks. Whoever's going to be winning this series is probably going to be taking game 5 here. So who's it going to be? Well, it's not us. So we got to win back-to-back games here. I can't get ahead of myself. I don't care if we lost game number 5. We're winning game number 6 and forcing game 7. Now, one thing about the Anaheim Ducks is this team performs in game 7. Trevor Zegras is going to be picking up the first goal, but unfortunately, we're going to be giving up 2 straight goals after that. So we got to make the comeback in the third period, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. So Vancouver's winning the Stanley Cup, and you know what? I don't have a problem with that. However, I do have one massive problem with what happened in game number 7. Now, Darnell Richmond, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points in 14 games. Normally, I wouldn't have an issue with that. But the fact that you had 10 goals and 10 assists, 20 points in 13 games heading into game 7, and you proceeded to do absolutely nothing when it mattered most, yeah, you got to step it up. Darnell Richmond himself needs to step it up. He hasn't been doing enough recently. So we have 3 teams left on the wheel here, and we got to get some Stanley Cups. Like Darnell Richmond, is he really going to walk away with only 4 Stanley Cups after 32 seasons? That wouldn't be right. Next team that Darnell Richmond's moved on to is going to be the New York Islanders, and unfortunately, we can't really make too many moves with this team. So we moved on to the New York Islanders, and the worst part about a team like the Islanders is they just made into the playoffs as the last wild card. So you know what that means? We only can make 1 trade with them, seeing as they were a playoff team. We need to make more than 1 trade with this team because I don't think we could win with this core. Granted, the defense is pretty solid here. I think we might be able to win with that, but you know what? We don't have good line pairings here. That's what's going to be holding us back. When it comes to goaltending, though, we do have a great goaltender. We got Sorokin here, but yeah, we got to make a massive trade. We got to bring in at least 3 different pieces. Is it going to be possible to win with the Islanders? Who knows? goes. So I'm not too sure if a trade like this is even going to be enough, but you know what? We got to do something here to help the team. 2 first-rounders, Anders Lee, Palmieri, and Bolduc are going to be sent over to the Calgary Flames. We're getting Sharon Govich, Blake Coleman, and Connor Zary. The most difficult part about rebuilding the Islanders here is they have way too much money tied into certain players. Like Kyle Palmieri and Anders Lee, that was $12 million right there. They're both only like 82 overalls. So in order for me to bring better players onto the team, we have to trade some 80 overall players. Ideally, I would like to trade prospects, but you know what? We just don't have the money for it. So we went ahead and made that trade. Blake Coleman and Sharon Govich are going to play some second line minutes, and we're going to see Connor Zary down the fourth line gain a +1 boost. I don't think this is going to be enough here. Like, I just don't think we have the line fits, but you know what? Every single time I've built a great team, I expect great things in the playoffs, and that doesn't happen. I have questions about the Islanders, so maybe they can prove me wrong. So I wasn't expecting too much with the New York Islanders, and we really didn't get too much here. 12th in the entire league, a 45-31-6 record. We are in the postseason though, so I guess I'll take it. Like, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you add Darnell Richmond to a team, and then he proceeds to not make the playoffs. Yeah, he didn't have great numbers. He did have 64 goals, but only 101 points. That's not good enough. Sorokin, I need you to put on a masterclass in the postseason. I need a goals against below 3 and a save percentage above a 950. So yeah, very real expectations for Sorokin, and I need you to make a statement here in the first round. We got the New Jersey Devils. I mean, Sorokin hasn't been playing the worst defense. Yeah, we allowed 3 goals here, but only 1 goal allowed here and 1 goal allowed here. If we can close it out with a shutout in game 5, then I'm going to believe in what we've built here. Okay, he just allowed 4 goals. That's not really ideal, but we did score 4 of our own in game number 6, so that means we're off to the second round. So we just saw a massive upset in the first round. The Carolina Hurricanes were able to beat one of the best teams in the entire game, the New York Rangers, but that means we have to take Carolina on next, and we know what Carolina's roster is comprised of. That's going to be an elite team. Now, similar to the last series, we might be dropping game number 1, but we're going to be responding right after that. Can we make it 4 wins in a row here with a win in game number 5? We're actually going to be losing game 5 once again here, so that just means we're going to win in game 6. Okay, we were up 3-1 in the series. We're not doing this again. Every time things start looking good for the team, that's when we choke. The Islanders need to show up here. Barzal and Svechnikov are exchanging goals in the first period, and then Martinez is picking up 2 in the second. This game is over unless Darnell Richmond absolutely takes over. Okay, we allowed 7 goals. Sorokin got pulled in this game. We had to put Varlamov in, and then one of the first shots that Varlamov faced, he allowed a goal. So yeah, this team's going to be eliminated here in the second round. We're down to 2 teams. Darnell, we got to get you 1 more. So when it comes to our final 2 teams, we have one elite team in the Vegas Golden Knights, and the other's the Ottawa Senators. So yeah, do with that information what you will. Alright, so the Ottawa Senators, you guys have been a massive disappointment over the past couple seasons, but now Stick on the Ice is your GM, and that's all going to change. The bottom 6 is getting completely redone. I want 80 overalls on the 4th line, not 78 overalls. We're not doing that. When it comes to the defense, yeah, this is a weak spot for the team, but I feel like we could win with the guys we have right here. Thomas Chabot, Jacob Chikrin, and Jake Sanderson. That's 3 really good defensemen, and then we have a couple 80 overalls as well. However, it doesn't matter how good our defense is when this is our goaltending tandem. We're fixing the bottom 6, and we're fixing the goaltending. Alright, so this is the trade that we're looking at doing here. It's going to be Korpisalo for Menton, a first, a second round, and Kubalik over to the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to bring in Ryan McLeod for the bottom 6, Warren Fogle for the bottom 6, and I'm going to believe that Stuart Skinner can be the guy for us. He's an 85 overall goaltender. It's a 4 overall jump from what we had before. I think this is the move that we're going to be starting with. So we're going to move on to our next trade here, and this one's going to help free up a bit of cap space. Josh Norris, a first rounder, and 2 prospects over to the Montreal Canadiens. Kane Gooley's going to play some third pairing minutes. Alex Newhook's going to be a great bottom 6 piece, and Justin Barron, I plan on him being a third pairing defenseman for us. So this is what the final move is going to be. 3 more pieces for our bottom 6. Zetterlund, Barbonov, and Nico Sturm. 3 guys are going to play some big time minutes for us. So after making the trades we did, the team's definitely in a better position. +5 boost on the first line, a +1 on the second. When it comes to the third line, Shane Pinto, Warren Fogle, and Zetterlund are getting a +2, while Barbonov, Nico Sturm, and Ridley Gregg are massive upgrades to the 4th line. When it comes to the defense, we didn't really do too much here. We brought in Kane Gooley, we brought in Justin Barron. They're going to be our third pairing. And when it comes to the goaltending, we got Stuart Skinner to rock with. It's a massive upgrade from what we had before, but is it going to be enough for Ottawa to finally win a Stanley Cup? Probably not. This team's just so unlucky. So I can't even get excited about the fact that I just turned the Ottawa Senators into a top 3 team, because once the postseason rolls around, we already know what's going to happen to this team right here. Darnell Richmond, 110 points. He had 69 goals. The scoring on this team actually wasn't that great. I mean, we must have been really good defensively, because these numbers right here when it comes to offense, not that great. Stuart Skinner, 42 wins, 3 shots, a 914 to 269. That makes a lot more sense.
sense because those offensive numbers definitely not winning us the Stanley Cup. However, we are in the postseason now. We have to take on the high-flying Tampa Bay Lightning. They're going to be taking a lot of shots on us. They got some big-time goal scorers. We have to be prepared to continue to play good defense. Yeah, so you remember how I said you have to be prepared for Tampa's high-flying offense? 6 goals, 5 goals. This game, they only scored 1 goal. They still beat us. And then this game, they scored 4 goals. So yeah, that defense, I don't know where it went because it wasn't here. Darnell Richmond, you have one more chance at winning another Stanley Cup. We are on the biggest cold streak of all time. I did not think we were going to see a cold streak like this, but the fact that we've probably gone 12 teams without a Stanley Cup, utterly ridiculous. But you know what? This last team that we're going to, you actually have a very good chance with, the Vegas Golden Knights. That team's about $15 million over the salary cap, so it really shouldn't be that difficult for us. So at the beginning of this video, I made a rule that I was allowed to make 1 trade with every single playoff team. Non-playoff teams, I was allowed to make 3. But making a trade with the Vegas Golden Knights almost seems like cheating. This team's already $15 million over the salary cap. This team on paper is absolutely incredible here, so I'm not going to make another trade. We're going to rock with the Vegas Golden Knights the way they are, but they have added Darnell Richmond to the team. I feel like if I made a trade to make this team even better, that would be cheating because I mean, like, look at this team. We should win a Stanley Cup and we probably should win about 65 games. So it all comes down to this. The Vegas Golden Knights are finishing with 55 wins. It's basically going to guarantee that we're first in the entire league here. We're only behind the Toronto Maple Leafs and New York Rangers. Ain't no way we have 55 wins and we're behind the Toronto Maple Leafs. The scoring on this team, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Jonathan Marchessault, you're -5. Not really too sure how that works. When it comes to goaltending numbers, these are not great. You know what, Vegas? I was expecting a lot more from you. We have Colorado in the first round. I don't even want to look at the playoff bracket. This team needs to perform. Darnell Richmond, we have to get you a Stanley Cup. We're going to simulate the first 4 games. We're going to see what happens here. We're losing the first one. We're losing the second one. If we get swept here, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, we're down 3-1 in the series. Vegas, you have to come back. You have Darnell Richmond. So yeah, Darnell Richmond's won about 4 Stanley Cups in this video. We rebuilt 32 teams. We didn't really do much of a rebuild for the Vegas Golden Knights, but I didn't think we would have to. They're $15 million over the salary cap. I thought we were going to be fine. And here we are out in the first round after winning 55 games. So if you made it to the end of the video, comment Darnell Richmond. What an absolutely disappointing finish this was. This man only won 5 Stanley Cups and he went like 15 seasons without one. He went on the biggest cold streak of all time and we just weren't able to snap it.